Now we're good.
All right.
All right. High five. Yeah. All right. Teamwork. Yes.
We are here. We are live.
We are here.
Congratulations to Red. I can't get that wrong.
All the Reds.
Somebody won. It's been nuts here.
I feel like, yeah, Red is just fantastic team. Both of them. Like, that was a great final series, and I was really hoping that Jewel would take it again, but no such luck.
All right, we're going to come back to ESL. But obviously, we are here for some very special reasons.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be great.
So something that Jason Kaplan and Blueberries were kind enough to mention on their ESL broadcast, this is the Fortress Hero Reveal event.
Yep. You just remember the name. I mean, people might have not seen the lore yet.
Oh, no, that's been happening all this time.
Okay.
But that's not all.
This is not all. This is huge right here.
Well,
what you're about to hear.
So first, we're also doing 2 Tier 2 skin reveals.
Okay.
But
wait,
also,
there's more.
This is also going to be the update server downtime stream.
Yep. So coming to a Vainglory near you, you're not going to be able to play for a few hours. Terribly sorry.
1.5 is coming. If you stay with us until we go off the air, when we go off the air, you will be able to play 1.5 with all the hero changes to Vox, changes to Scarf, changes to Saw.
Changes to so many things.
Well, the new hero, obviously. Guess what? There's bots. They're pretty stupid, but they're in the game.
This is true. I will show you how stupid they are later.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
so we're going to take you through it all. We're going to take you through all of the balance changes. We're going to take you through the new hero. We're going to take you through the rest of the skins that you haven't seen. There's going to be epic cards in this update.
Oh, yeah.
There is so much to do today. There is so much to do, and this is happening so fast that during this broadcast, I'm actually going to bow out to Doer and Sugar Venom so that I can get I'm so sorry, but I need to make sure that the in-game news feed has all the new stuff in it so that players have context. But if you stay right here, you will be the first to know and understand everything. You'll see the hero before it's out on live. And if you stay with us until the bitter end of this stream, when we go off the air, you will be able to play the new hero.
This is true.
You will be able to use all the new skins. And you will get to have the balance changes that I think everyone has been really looking forward to.
I'm personally really excited about this set of balance changes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this will pretty much propel everything into viability.
Yeah, not only do we get heroes in line and are there new permutations with Fortress, for example, Fortress and Saw, fantastic, a lot of interesting combinations there. But in addition to that, there are also meta changes that are going to really impact the way that you play in positive ways. And we've had lots of players in to test this out in advance, make sure we got this right. But the minion mines are now going to be very relevant. It's going to take a little bit of people's brains to be like, wait a minute, someone took a minion mine at 4 minutes.
I'm just going to say, I've accidentally died to a minion mine multiple times during playtest just because I'm not used to them attacking you when you walk by.
Yeah, so we're going to get into all the details, the minion mines, the lane. You cannot leave lane alone the way you are now, and that relates to the minion mines. We'll get into all of the details. There is so much to do.
Oh, yeah.
I almost don't even know where to start. I don't know if Ed the Shred is around. I do want to. I'll talk about it.
All right.
But if Ed the Shred, if you're watching, come in here. I think he wanted to talk about this. But one more thing we wanted to make sure, and we're going to say this a few times throughout the broadcast. So when you update, if you play sometimes on iPhone, or even if you just have the iPhone app, we are going to a 64-bit universal binary, which means there's going to be one app for everything. So right now it's kind of funky.
One app to rule them all.
One app to rule them all. Right now it's kind of funky where if you want to play on your phone, you have to download Vainglory for iPhone. If you want to play on your iPad, it's the Vainglory app. That is getting condensed into one app, which is going to be much less confusing for people moving forward, which means that if you are an iPhone user, you're going to get directed over to the Vainglory app, and you're going to have to download that, and then you're going to have 2 apps, and that's going to be weird. And one of them's going to work, and the other one isn't. One of them's going to be like, update, and the other one's going to be like, it's good, I'm happy.
What's happening?
I was watching the stream, and I heard my name called. I was like, holy shit.
So if you end up in this situation where you have 2 Vainglory apps on your device, delete the one for iPhone, and the one that just says Vainglory will rule them all. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that's correct. So to kind of rewind a little bit. So what we're doing is we're going from 2 apps to 1 app. So that means that we no longer have a separate app for Vainglory and Vainglory for iPhone. We now have everything in one awesome app. And the reason we're doing that is because it makes life a lot easier for us. We can update, we can develop quicker as a result, and there's no longer a need for us to have two different apps. So for iPad users, that actually won't change anything. So you just update the app the way you do normally. For iPhone users, on the other hand, the old app will point to the new app. So that the upgrade process itself, when you tap upgrade, what it'll do is it'll download the new version. And the two ones will look deceptively similar on this device.
Is it cool if people, if they want to just do it through the App Store, if they just download delete the iPhone ones?
Yeah,
in case
totally.
they have
If everything fails,
if
you're super confused, just delete the app and go back to the App Store, look for Vainglory and download it there.
So worst case scenario, so all your progress is going to be there no matter what. Worst case scenario, you might have to readjust your settings, you might have to log in again, but that's probably about it, right?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Yeah, so all your progress, in fact, if you played before, you don't even need to play through these bot games that we'll talk about no doubt in a second. All your progress is stored, all that stuff. You may need to log in again when you download the new app, but that's about it.
All right.
Awesome.
All right, so we update 1.5 on the way.
Very soon.
All right, we should be going down in about 15 to 30 minutes or so.
Right.
We take the servers down, and we are crossing our fingers for a quick and painless update.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of new stuff, as you guys know, in this update. So,
so
really excited to bring it out, but we do want to test it properly. So you should expect a couple of hours of downtime.
Yeah, so we typically say, leave 3 to 4 hours. Expect 3 to 4 hours of downtime, and we try to do better than that. But, depending
we're working
on the
hard over there
complexity-
to do better. So give these guys a hard time. If we don't, we'll be working hard over there. Just don't leave us alone to work. And
Sounds good.
Okay, Ed the Shred will be in the control tower.
I shall be
trying
in the
to
control tower.
land the planes on a moving runway.
Yeah, the trick is I actually don't do much of the work. What I do is I sit there with my whip.
I have the welts to prove it if you look at my back.
Oh my.
That's exactly right. Yeah, no, that's right. No, but hopefully we're really excited about this one. I think we've all really enjoyed playing it here in the office. And thanks again to all those players who came in to help playtest and balance tests, the past couple of weeks, which has been really cool. So
all right, and
this is going to be good.
Sounds good. So much to do. We're going to kick it off with some skin reveals.
Sounds good.
Let's do it.
And then we'll get into all the nitty gritty.
So, this is, I have to change it to here. Skin reveals.
Look at that.
Wow.
Boom.
This is Candy Twirl Koshka Tier 2. Thank you, Ed the Shred.
Goodbye.
Candy Twirl Koshka Tier 2. Different look and a lot more once we get in-game.
Which we will do.
Obviously,
right
everyone knows I'm a Koshka main.
now.
If you joined us late, this is going to be the server downtime stream. 1.5 is coming. It is not just the Fortress Wolf hero reveal event anymore. It is now also the 1.5 downtime stream.
Yep, and we're gonna go over all the patch notes and stuff with you guys, just to make sure you guys know what's going on. And this is, you notice right here, there's actually something in the next patch happening right there.
Oh wait till we get low, because if Justin or Chuck is listening, I want to apologize to them again.
I'm so sorry.
As we get there. But first thing you're gonna notice here, the effects on all of Koshka's swipes, you see the rainbow effect on that, which I just love, and here it is.
I'm sorry.
Here's the moment.
I'm sorry.
We are so sorry. The full podcast people, Big Little is no more.
It is now just a little.
It is a little.
I'm so
it is
sorry.
a little. And we're going to get into a lot more detail about all this, and I think Surprise Birthday is going to come visit us at some point. But basically, the camps that are farther in the back are worth more now.
Yeah.
And the ones that are closer to the shop are worth less. So basically, it punishes people less for if they lose that kind of level 1 jungle invade. Right? So, and it really changes the dynamic. It helps teams. If you watched in ESL, if you saw any stomps where a really high quality team just couldn't figure out a way to come back, the change of having these back camps worth more gold helps teams make different decisions, manage their time, and find ways back in the game. And if you are super hyper aggressive with invading, you might even find yourself in a situation where you're falling behind in gold because the other team is doing a better job at managing their rear camps.
Yep.
So it's did I get that right? Is that pretty much your assessment?
That's pretty much true.
All right, so you see the close-up, Candy Twirl Koshka, Tier 2, full, the look continues to change. I love the backpack, I love the headphones, I love the color scheme on this one, and then the rainbow effects. It is really, really fun, and a nice departure from Tier 1. The hair is different, the outfit is different, the color scheme is different. When you play the Tier 2, it really feels almost like an entirely new skin again. So it's really, really fun, and wait till you see that in game. These things in the stream, it never quite does justice, which I think people saw from the Glaive one. The Glaive one looks so awesome in game. We do the best we can here, but yeah, having those effects is super
time
fun.
For the next one?
If you say so, man.
All right, and this is Shogun Ringo 2.
Shogun Ringo 2. This might be my favorite piece of splash art of all.
Terrifying. Holy cow. When I saw this, my mind was blown.
Yeah, I mean, if your mind is blown now, wait until you see the Tier 3. Let me just say that. Then people's minds are really going to be blown. That is just off the charts. But
I was not ready for that one at all.
Yeah,
this one's already
yeah.
Tier 3 is. I'm done.
All right, so in-game now, we're going to show you in-game Ringo 2. Now you see the full...
Well, not quite yet. Now they do.
Now they do the full Shogun gear. Look at this, the helm he's got on, the full outfit. It's kind of the fully realized Shogun now. And just really cool. I think he still isn't wearing shoes.
Who needs shoes
because
anyway?
That's signature Ringo. But yeah, I love this skin. I think it's just a phenomenal job. And when you kind of get in there, don't forget, settings are restored, even now if you've updated, but certainly in 1.5. So go in, turn on pinch to zoom, and zoom in and take a close look at these skins. You can catch a glimpse of the mask that Ringo has on. The whole thing is just really, really fun.
So Shogun Ringo Tier 2. I love this one. I mean, I personally placed a lot of Ringo, so I was really excited to have this one go out on live.
All right, so this is Ringo Tier 2. We're gonna stay with you. We still have the Fortress reveal to come. Are we gonna do are we gonna try to get in a game before the servers go down?
Probably not. I don't think it's gonna happen.
Do you think? I don't know. We might be able to get in one.
I don't want to just hop into a game and have it crash halfway through.
I don't even know if it would. I think you can still finish the match that you're in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I don't think people would care. But it's your call. I'm just saying we're gonna have some time to
get
fill.
Another device. I just had Andre take it away from me.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, actually, it might be that one over there.
No time for a game, says Ed the Shred.
All right,
so
no time
I'm
for
a liar.
a game.
We want it. We try. We're thinking about you guys.
No
but
time.
Here, close up, Shogun Ringo, just so badass.
Indeed.
So much fun. So
So
the fact that we don't have time for a game, that tells you that the process has already begun. The servers might not quite be down just yet, but it's already begun. That the 1.5 process has started. Hello.
Hello.
If you joined us late, you witnessed, we had ESL action. We are about to show you the new hero, Fortress.
Oh, yeah.
We are showing you skins, and when we are done, update 1.5 will be out. So again, I didn't honestly. Normally I watch every single moment of every single ESL match.
Yeah.
I didn't get to because once kind of the news came down that we were going to be able to get the update out, things got
a
fast
little bit
and furious
distracted.
and crazy here. But obviously, congratulations to both red teams for an amazing job. I want to say congratulations to House of Badiatis, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah.
Vanglorious Gibbs on that team.
They did very well.
Might on that team, Micro on that team. Took out Collab, but Collab with maybe one of the highlights of all of ESL so far. If you guys didn't hear about this, so there was a mix-up for the time that Collab's first match was going to start, and both teams were confused, and they were running the risk of forfeiture. So the match kicked off 2v1. And the only person who showed up was Shinkaigen for Team Collab. So here we go again, where it was not very long ago that Shinkaigen wasn't even supposed to be on Team Collab. They reached out to him kind of on a whim, say, hey, do you want to be on this special exhibition team we're forming for ESL EU? And he said sure, didn't expect to start because he hadn't had any practice time, got pressed into action 12 hours later because scheduling conflicts on Collab meant that Shinkaigen had to start on Wednesdays. And then fast forward to today, it's early in the morning, like 7 7 a.m. in for us in California or West Coast time, and no one else from Collab shows up. Shinkaigen has to go into the match all alone or risk Collab getting eliminated from the tournament from forfeiting, and he went 12-1 with Jewel and soloed a win to get Collab through the first round.
Is crazy.
So when people say Shin needs to be nerfed in 1.5,
I'd agree.
I guess we should have done that.
Actually, that's the patch notes.
Yeah, my goodness. So Shinkaigen, amazing, solo performance. So Collab able to advance, eventually taken out by House of Badiatus, which, had an amazing run today.
Oh, yeah. They did really
well.
Then
finally we had Red 1 versus Red 2. It's funny, I was asking a Red member on Twitter, do you have any side bets between the two teams on who's going to finish with more points in the cup? So it must have been really fun for them. They obviously know each other very well.
For sure.
So congratulations to both those teams. Really fun and really, again, just really enjoying seeing a lot of different hero comps, lane takas, and all sorts of comps coming out of the woodwork. And we're going to see a lot more in 1.5, let me tell you.
Undoubtedly, this next patch is going to be fantastic.
All right, so
is it time? We've baited them long enough. They're
think?
waiting for it. They're waiting for it.
Do you want to do
Is
it?
it time? It's time.
All right. So
It's
after we do the hero, I'm gonna bow out for Doer and Sugar Venom. Go get everything up in the news feed,
Sounds
and
good.
then I'll come back.
All right. And this is more Shogun Ringo.
Wait, is that what you intended?
Yes.
Okay.
And this is Fortress.
This is Fortress, the new hero coming to the Halcyon Fold. Man, I'm going to have to pull up my notes. All right. So Fortress, I don't know if everyone's been reading the lore. Here, I'm going to put in the lore the link. You can go !wolf to see the new lore. But basically, Fortress is a temple guardian.
Yep.
Okay? A kind of a mystical presence, dates all the way back to the formation of this temple, inside of which there is a Halcyon well. And the wolf has been patrolling and guarding this temple for so long that over the years, as the oral storytelling has happened, it's kind of become synonymous with the protection of the temple, to the point where in the storytelling, it got kind of abstracted enough where people would talk about the fortress that is protecting the temple.
An object.
Yeah, the immense fortress that is protecting the temple. So some people realized it was a wolf, and many of the oral storytelling don't even realize it's a wolf anymore in the mythology. They just think there's a fortress protecting a temple. It is, in fact, this wolf. So this is a temple guardian. It can, again, like many of our heroes, can be played multiple ways. We are classifying Fortress as a protector out of the jungle.
Yep. I'd say that's pretty accurate. But Fortress also does pretty good with Crystal, but he doesn't farm too well. But if you do manage to pull it off, he can do some serious damage.
Utility tree, very valuable with him. What you'll see, he sticks with his teammates. He stalks prey. He can flank targets in interesting ways that you will see. He can create multi-front confrontations, and obviously wants to stay near his allies. So we'll get into all the details. You want to so you want to show it in game, or you want to talk it through first?
Let's talk it through first real quick.
Okay, so let's do a really abbreviated version, and then we'll get in game and we'll talk all about it.
Fortress is his perk. He runs fast when he's near his buddies.
Yep.
Done.
So you'll see an effect on him, and then he gets the move speed buff when he like a member of a pack, he wants to be with his allies to take advantage of his heroic perk.
Yep. His first ability, Truth of the Tooth. You can basically, you activate it, a modal appears, you can target something.
No, first is
Truth of the Tooth.
Truth of the Tooth.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yes, I'm sorry, that's not what
Evan,
all right,
you're ruining my
I'm so
groove.
sorry, please, I won't talk.
All right, so Truth of the Tooth, a modal pops up, you can target an enemy, and then your next basic attack to anything will be a small lunge.
Yep.
Pretty short range, but you can mark someone and lunge at something else, and anything whoever you marked, your entire team, all your allies can run faster towards that target.
Yes, so marking as prey, this is the key, and you can actually mark as prey without lunging if you do it correctly. Some very interesting tactical things you can do there. But yes, this is the important part. Everyone pay attention to this. You mark someone as prey, and the entire team can rally to that target with increased move speed.
Yep, so basically, he is awesome with Saw.
Yes.
And any other melee hero. He'll make melee heroes super, super good at sticking to targets, and he'll make Saw actually sort of be able to move?
Yeah, so, I mean, you've heard a lot of speculation once we said that he was good with Saw. But the key here is that people say the reason Saw can't be played at, let's say, ESL level is, excuse me, he can't rotate fast enough, and it's too risky that he won't be at the fight at the time of the fight.
Right.
But we've seen Saw be out of the meta for so long, except in Southeast Asia. The people have forgotten how powerful he is when he is there for the fight.
We have
oh my goodness, it's Captain Nito. Even better person to talk than me.
Camera.
Yeah.
Hello.
So,
hello. You
I'm
can
really
say
short.
things. Okay, you can.
This chair is very low.
So what happens is
There we
when
go.
Fortress can mark a target as prey, that would allow someone like Saw to get the move speed acceleration that he needs to make sure he is at the fight when the fight happens, makes him much more relevant when combined, and you're going to see some jungle Saw. Let me tell you right now. You're going to see it.
It is awesome. I love it.
It is awesome. I love it. I think at the end of the day, like Fortress is
Downtime
unique.
Downtime starting. All right.
Downtime starting now.
Hooray!
Servers are down for the update.
Oh my goodness.
Fortress's unique role, where he is going to be able to cause his teammates to rally with him on a specific target, is very much a game changer. I'm really excited to see what the high level play.
Hold on
comes
one
out
second,
with.
because I want to get to the video, and then if you could talk through all the video and give us all the insight as
We're
the
not
as the
using a
lead
video.
hero
We're just
designer.
playing it in game.
Oh, to the in-game feed.
right.
All right.
Also, we'll totally
In
do
that case,
We're just gonna do the super quick version. So,
all right.
so the
your B, you claw something, and
Yep.
then they're bleeding, and it does damage.
bleeding sucks.
Yeah.
Bleeding
All right,
sucks.
go
Yeah. Third ability, attack of the pack. You summon 3 wolves and chase down your enemies.
Truth of the tooth, law of the claw, attack of the pack. Yes, he howls. Pack wolves come. Pack wolves will globally go after enemy heroes. 1 pack wolf to each enemy hero. It doesn't matter where they are. It will go after them.
They're crazy. They're
It is
scary.
amazing.
You don't mess with them.
And what we are going to show you, and Captain Nito is going to take over for me here. What we're going to show you is actually the new co-op. Co-op was intended to be co-op versus bots. We're going to just go a solo versus bots. Something you need to know about bots, these are part of the new player experience, helping players acclimate to the game before they end up in the matchmaking queue with people like you.
Yep.
So these are intentionally very, very stupid bots.
I'm gonna
These
go
are-
beat up bots.
yeah,
and
these-
get levels.
Yeah,
So-
keep in mind, guys, these bots are they're not made to be brilliant. They're not yet made to even give you guys a run for your money. What we wanted to make sure happened with these bots is that we could put them in front of players that are new to Vainglory, who absolutely have no idea how to play a MOBA. They've never seen a MOBA in their life, and they want to be able to get their dip their toes in, get their feet wet, and have a safe environment to learn.
So if you are, if you've been playing for a while, you are going to laugh at these bots.
Like so.
Yeah.
But you can use them to experiment with new item builds, try things out, but primarily this is part of a new flow that is going to make sure that new players get graduated from, doing, initiation, doing gold rush, doing bots, and have to go through a number of steps before they end up in the public match queue. So you could see Ringo.
I beat Ringo bot, yes.
That was not Fuji.
George.
That was not Fuji level Ringo play right there. You could see it is somewhat of a pylon, but they will help immeasurably, because if someone is, say, coming over from a casual game and they find Vainglory on the App Store, instead of being in a match with you and running into the turret or running into an enemy hero and dying 3 times and then AFKing, they're going to go through that experience against a very stupid Ringo bot. And then they're
There's
never
also-
going to be in the match with you messing you up.
But wait, there's more.
There's more.
Also, where are they? I'll
Where
find
are
them
they?
Eventually.
Are they off? They're off jungle farming
Did
somewhere?
they steal my jungle? Oh, I found them. All right. We're going for Catherine Bot.
All right, you see the prey mark go on the Catherine bot.
Ugh.
Gatherbot's running.
Catherine Bot. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Take that, Catherine Bot. Uh-oh.
So go ahead and
Uh-oh.
give us all of your insight on the hero.
Oh, on Fortress. Okay, so
Don't forget the shop and stuff.
So Fortress is actually best played as a hybrid support. He makes plays for his teammates, and he actually enables all of his teammates to do whatever they like to do.
Catherine just
easier.
stole my
Oh my
minion.
God!
I got wrecked. I'm done here.
Oh, that was great.
I'm done here, guys.
Oh, I feel vindicated. That's so awesome. So when you're thinking about playing Fortress, Fortress works. I mean, if you notice his perk, Fortress is really good when he's with a teammate, when he's with an ally.
Yep.
But he also ends up, because of how he marks prey, he also ends up creating a great initiation moment. And unlike, the kind of initiations that you might get from a Catherine, let's say, where Catherine might do a stun on a specific target, and that's sort of the implicit indication to her teammates, like, this is the guy that you guys want to swarm. Fortress literally makes that happen. He won't stun the target, but he is going to end up marking a target that's going to allow him and his friends to be able to chase them down incredibly effectively.
Oh, yeah.
And that rally, that moment where Fortress can say everybody gets faster movement speed towards this specific target is super important for the kind of plays he makes. If you're playing against a Fortress and you are in lane, be very, very wary.
Oh, yeah.
This is the time to learn, if you haven't tried yet, if you haven't learned how to not push your lane. That is an incredibly valuable skill, because when Fortress is in the game, if he is in the brush, he is going to be able to produce ganks that are going to be incredibly effective.
Yeah.
Very, very effective, to say the least.
He is the ganking machine.
Yeah, and
He
the
is
one
the
thing
gank
we
master.
can't show you here is a true rally when it's solo, but we do have video footage of full matches.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we will be showing you full matches with Fortress in them later on in this broadcast.
Yeah. So you'll notice if you look at a lot of his stats, that Fortress doesn't have. Well, he's got pretty moderate crystal ratios, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, the crystal ratios are pretty good for him. But ultimately, Fortress is going to be able to remain effective even if he's not grabbing a whole lot of gold. This also means that if you notice with his perk, Fortress is super effective when it's going to come to iron guarding. He's a natural iron guarder because he's going to be able to mark a jungle minion as prey, and he's going to be able to help his jungle buddy, who may be melee, to be able to rush in and grab the camp faster.
Yep.
So he's got a lot of little small nuances that help him play out really well in the jungle. We haven't road tested him much in the lane.
I've played him a few times.
Have you? Is he actually super decent?
He's good at making ganks happen, but
Yeah,
he
he
doesn't
is.
actually do much with the gold.
I don't think that a lane Fortress is nearly as viable. But you know what? I throw that out as a challenge to the community, because
Yes.
you guys will end up telling us whether that's viable or not. You guys try him out in lane, see if you can. I mean, get a book of eulogy,
I
see
believe.
what happens. Yeah, it
I
could totally
believe.
be a thing. It could totally be a thing. But he works really, really well when he's running around with a buddy. And it's a pity, because right now, if you're watching George play,
I don't have any buddies.
Yeah, he doesn't have any
I
other
have no
heroes.
friends.
So you don't get to see his perk in action. You don't get to see all of these really great moments that he can help synergize for his team. The other thing is, we deliberately tuned Fortress's ultimate to be on low enough cooldown and to not be so damage worthy that it's not something that you would feel like you're wasting if you wanted to use it to scout. Now keep in mind, when he summons the wolf pack and he howls.
All right, here we go.
Here we go.
Here go the wolves. So they each go for a separate enemy hero.
And they each go for a separate hero. Now notice, the rest of them are making a pell-mell for and pound Catherine and Glaive. So in this case, you can use the wolves to scout. You may not know where the enemy is, but during mid to late game, if you feel like, you know what, the most effective use of my ultimate is tracking them down and figuring out if they're about to Kraken, unleash the hounds, man. Go bananas. I mean, it is totally a viable way of playing Fortress.
Something we saw in playtesting, toward the end, that some of the members of the team were experimenting with, was having Fortress howl. The wolves go out, track down the enemy team, and time it to a heavy crystal Celeste ult.
Oh my god.
So it was like the wolves find someone, and as soon as Celeste sees where they are, like it's the target
Yep.
reticle, and then
And
boom,
then she just launches the ultimate.
just launching the ult
Oh,
wherever
such
the
good
wolves
plays.
find them.
While we're in the game,
Yeah, while we're in the
let's
game.
click on this tab right here.
Oh yeah, there's some.
So there's this thing here.
Oh yeah, Minion's foot. So yeah, in case you guys hadn't noticed, there
Cutting
new
off their
items.
ears,
Two
cutting
new
off their
items.
feet.
I know.
Two new items. So in the chat, hype 2 new items in update 1.5.
We just don't
Yep.
respect Minions, I guess. But yes, 2 new items in this update. Minion's foot is actually a split now. If you remember before, if you were to be investing in crit, you would likely buy Swift Shooter as your first item, which gave you attack speed, and then it would branch off. We decided to actually make that split a little bit more obvious and appropriate. So now, instead of starting from Swift Shooter, Lucky Strike starts from Minion's Foot, and it allows you, if you're playing those crazy like crit jewel builds, you can now go full crit without having to increase your attack speed. It's also useful for glaive too.
Before you show the next item, something I'd love to get your insight on, because there's some very, very important differences, and you'll understand it better when you see the full match in-game footage.
I don't think anybody can see you, by the way.
No, I don't need to be on air. That's not important.
You're not on air. Deal with it.
Yeah.
If you could talk to people a little bit about the difference between Fortress's Rally from a prey mark and Warhorn, and how you would use them differently.
Yeah. So if you heard me describing it earlier, and I guess it bears a little bit more explanation. Fortress, when he marks a target as prey, and you'll see these teeth marks. These teeth marks appear above the target. When a target is marked as prey, like that. You'll notice that Fortress runs faster when he's moving towards the target, and he doesn't run faster moving any other direction.
Yep.
And that is a rally. That means that target is a source of movement speed, but you don't get that movement speed running any other direction, so it's not great for escape. If you're thinking about using Fortress because he's going to be similar to a Warhorn, you kind of get it for an invade, but you will not get it if you are trying to escape an enemy. If you mark somebody as prey and run away from them, your movement speed is the exact same as if they are not marked as prey. There is no benefit whatsoever. Exactly, like so. And notice you can run towards. He's faster running towards, but slow running away.
Yep.
So, if Fortress is going to be really good for those invades, for starting those team fights off, he's not going to be great at getting you out of harm's way. And that's really where the Omni movement speed items like Warhorn are going to come in. So if you really want to be able to say, like, under any given circumstances, me and my buddies need to be moving faster, Warhorn is still your friend. Fortress will be super effective in certain situations, but nothing will quite replace the sheer utility and omnidirectional movement speed that you're going to get from a Warhorn.
Yep, you can mark any enemy unit with this, except turrets.
Simply the fact that you can only go at things with Fortress's prey mark, and not away.
Yes.
Fundamentally changes it tactically.
Yes, very much so, very much so. And you can use it to kind of get a Warhorn if you're super savvy. So some of the things that we've seen in playtests, which is kind of badass, like you can mark a minion in the lane that is behind you. If you have, for let's say, turret dove an enemy, you can mark a minion behind you to get a speed up and then run towards that minion. So there's a couple of really creative, savvy things that can come out of it, but overall, it's just not going to have the viability of a Warhorn.
Yep, pretty much. All right, let's find next item.
Yeah, okay, next item.
It
is new. It is called Contraption. Contraption. Yes, and you'll notice Contraption.
By the way, Warhorn recipe change.
Also, good, worth noting, the build path for Warhorn is not the same. It
also does different stuff.
It does different stuff as well.
And multiple things going through Stormguard ban are also important.
I'm going to sell this and buy Contraption.
Yeah. So people might be saying, George, they might be saying things like, George, what is Contraption?
So Contraption is basically a few stacks of flares and scout traps.
Yeah.
So let's see, you click on the Contraption and this modal pops up. Looks pretty similar to a flare one.
Yeah.
So let's tap out here. Oh, look, I got a flare.
Nice.
But let's say I want to drop a scout trap. Let's tap on myself. Oh, look.
And you drop a scout trap.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So this thing will stack up one charge every 25 seconds up to a maximum of 3 stacks. So if you want to sit on them for a while and have more vision for like a specific point in the game, save them up. If not, just drop them everywhere you want.
Yeah. So it is essentially an item that allows you to freely throw out scout traps and flares depending on which one or how you use the modal dialogue.
In addition,
that appears.
It has this nice little bonus, which is basically the Stormguard effect, but in a small AoE.
Yeah.
So it'll actually let Fortress or whoever buys it, clear minions pretty well. Not amazingly, but it's solid.
Yeah. And I'm noticing this right here. If you guys are also watching the same thing, when the minions were there in lane, he had like an AOE cone of damage that he was dealing to those minions because of the Stormguard and the Contraption.
And stay tuned. We will be showing full games where you really get to see Fortress, and his kit come to life, because he's so team oriented that playing him solo, it's
not quite the same.
It's not at all the same. It's just an opportunity to start to talk to you about it.
Yep.
Found bots.
Yep. So have you guys talked at all about how bleeding works?
No. We have not.
Oh yeah.
Other than that, bleeding sucks.
Yeah, bleeding sucks. So in case I'm about to say more stuff about it, but in case you don't want to listen to what I'm going to say, that's totally fine. Just keep in mind, bleeding is bad, and you don't want to be bleeding. Yeah. Fortress causes bleeding uniquely, and you'll notice that sometimes when George is biting these bots and they're running around, that the bots are leaving like a trail of blood behind them. Bleeding it deals crystal damage to the target over time, but there is something very unique about bleeding that's worth mentioning. If each time that Fortress basic attacks after he's placed bleeding on his target, he increases the stack count on bleeding. And if bleeding gets all the way up to its maximum stacks, something very bad happens. Think of this like a spectral smite, but not one that you have to use Krull's ability to make the effect occur. If bleeding reaches the top number of stacks, the target is A, slowed, B, receives a bunch of spike damage, and C, is inflicted with a mortal wound. Mm-hmm. And if you guys don't remember mortal wounds from Taka's kit, a mortal wound means that the afflicted target receives less healing from any source. Now, also keep in mind in 1.5, mortal wounds don't just cause you to take less healing from any given source, they also reduce the amount of barrier that you take from any given source. That means if you inflict a mortal wound on a target and your Arden or their allied Arden rushes over to them and gives them a Vanguard, they take much less Vanguard for it.
Oh yeah.
I should write that down somewhere.
Yeah, if you are a Krull and you are depending on the fact that you are going to be able to have a huge amount of barrier from your dead man's rush, if you've got a mortal wound on you, you're going to be getting a lot less than you think. It puts you in a much more prone position as a target because everything is simply less effective in helping you recover. So again, it will take 5 stacks.
So say it one more time.
So one more time. Bleeding just deals damage over time.
Yep.
However, if it reaches its max number of stacks, it will burst and do very bad things to the target. It will deal damage to them, it will slow them, and it will inflict them with a mortal wound. Mm-hmm. The number of stacks for bleeding is 5. Every single time Fortress does a basic attack on a target that is suffering from bleeding, he increases that stack count by 1.
And Mortal Wound now does what in addition?
And Mortal Wound now, in addition to reducing the amount of healing you get from any source, it also reduces the amount of barrier you get from any source.
Yep. So pretty bad.
So pretty bad. And again, this is playing into Fortress's almost support-like qualities. He is going to tactically shift the battlefield, both by choosing when targets should be engaged upon, but also by making sure that in the shape of the fight itself, it becomes very, very awkward and difficult for enemies to stay on top of things. Even if enemies were relying on healing or barrier to help them win the day.
Do you want to talk about these minion mines?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, if you are joining us late, I think we are down for server maintenance right now.
This is true. Oh, no, I'm dying.
Update 1.5 is on the way. The team of smart people are working on that as we speak, and we're going to take you through all the balance changes. I'm not even on the screen.
You're not even on camera.
We're going to take you
dancing
through
so that
all the balance changes, and we're going to show you full game matches of Fortress. We'll show the extra tier 2 skins that are going in the game. We'll show that stuff again. But stay right here and hang out with us, and when we're done, you will be able to play in 1.5.
You will be able to play in 1.5. It's kind of weird how you keep just coming in and then leaving out, and so it's kind of cool.
I mean,
we
can squeeze in.
Look at that money.
We have Sugar Venom here now. I want to bow out for her at some point too, so she can say hi to everybody.
Hello.
She's in here too.
If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm literally typing up the stuff.
Yes,
this is all coming in so hype. So I'm sorry if I'm ignoring most of you people, but I'm trying to get stuff written. Okay.
So there's a couple of changes you'll notice in 1.5 that are new that we think you guys are really going to love because we found that we've loved it too. And these has to do with the meta of how the map works in Vainglory. So there's 2 things that I specifically want to make sure that we talk about. The first is where gold lives on the map, and the second is how minion mines affect the game world. Before in 1.4 and in all the previous updates, if you guys remember, minion mines, when you capture them, they will help your minions in the lane grow big and strong and allow you to give pressure to turrets and push them down. In 1.5, we've significantly ratcheted up the effectiveness of the minion mine. Minions themselves, when they are leveled up from the minion mine, will do significantly more damage to turrets. Now, not to enemy heroes or anything else, but specifically to turrets. It means that if you have a lane in which the enemy team has minions that are affected by minion mines and are leveled up, you really need to make sure you do not leave behind your lane. If you leave your lane behind, the minion pressure on your turret is significantly more substantial than in 1.4, and you will need to either kill the minions yourself, or you're going to need to capture minion mines to get them back.
Yep.
Secondly, minions gain their levels immediately when you capture the minion mine. They don't wait for newly spawned minions to come out that have the level of the minion mine that you end up capturing. So everything that will happen in the lane pressure in the shift is a lot stronger, a lot heavier, a lot more prominent, and it's going to happen instantaneously. So there's a little bit more of use case in these minion mines where players can take the minion mines and dramatically shift the direction of the game in their favor, especially if the enemy team is not protecting their own minion mine or hasn't given them any thought. Does that sound accurate so far, everybody?
Sounds about right to me.
Great
Yeah.
to me. So definitely one of the effects is if you have been used to constantly Fuji rotating down, where you're barely, say you're a lane Kashka with a book of eulogies, you're barely spending any time in lane, you're constantly rotating down.
Yeah.
If minion mines are getting taken, the lethality of those lane minions now is such that you're going to look up, you're going to go and you're going to pouncy fun somebody, you're going to be having a jolly old time, and you're going to look up and your turret's going to be at half health.
Yes.
And you're going to be like, maybe I shouldn't have left lane for this long.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it really does make a difference then in terms of the three-man jungle meta as well. So for people that are acclimated to be able to leave the lane unattended for large globs of time, that becomes incredibly dangerous. Be wary of doing that.
Yep. So one other thing that has happened this patch is that we put a premium on wave clear too.
Yes.
So minions are strong against your turrets, and they're gonna be kind of more difficult to kill.
Yeah, they are going to be a little more difficult to kill too. So yeah, see how that plays out, but the strategies will shift a little bit in accordance. Alongside the minion mines, the other big thing is where the gold is in the jungle.
Please, yes.
So
can you apologize though to Chuck and Justin from the Fold podcast for making Big Little no longer a thing? Big Little, rip Big Little.
I'm so sorry, guys. We screwed up your podcast because we're evil. And now
Super
Big
evil
Little is
even.
no longer super evil. And now Big Little is no longer a thing. For people that are still listening to us and thinking, what are they talking about? Let me be clear. The minion mines. I'm sorry, not the minion mines. The minion camps that are in the middle of the map that are near the shop for both teams have been reduced in the amount of gold that they will collect and in their overall value, and the value of the mines that are at the back of your jungle that are closest to your base wall, that those two minion mines have increased substantially in the amount of value. What does this mean for the player, and why did we care? So ultimately, this means that there is going to be less of a snowball advantage in the early game if you and your team happen to be able to early invade the enemy and take the most available jungle mines, jungle camps that are close by, which are usually the ones that are closest to the store. So if you want to viably have a slow start, an economy start rather than a jungle rush for the other side, it is much more viable now than it ever was in 1.4 and in previous patches, because now most of the gold in your jungle is going to be tucked away safely and closer to the base wall. Now you can still do those invades, but now you have to take on much more risk to get that money payout. That means that if you really want to collect the gold from the enemies, you're going to have to make your way all the way past the minion mine that's on their side of the map and find the two jungle pair in the back, and then end up taking those out. And you can do it, but they're also probably going to find you, and then they're going to probably shoot your face off. Now, that's the risk versus reward we felt was much more enticing, and it still leaves the early jungle invade as super viable, and it's always good to rob your enemies when you can, but it doesn't make it a necessary play style.
And right now, Sugar Venom, I think, is the main person in the Twitch chat. So if there are any questions coming out of there for Head of Creative, Lead Hero Designer, Captain Nito, the one and only Z Kent, or lowly me, please let us know, and we will answer them.
All right, I beat these bots.
I'm really proud of you. Yes. I think this is achievement unlocked.
Yes.
Did they get a single kill on you?
No.
No.
But we should show a full match. Oh,
What?
there we go.
Oh my God, you're level 2.
Yes.
So
I've done it.
We talked about how there's a new early player experience, helping guide new players, through the game, get acclimated, go through kind of a guided experience step by step before they end up in a public match with you where they can influence your level of fun. Mm-hmm. So you saw a little glimpse of what that's all about right there.
Most definitely.
Captain Nito here in the middle, he should have a nameplate. He's more important than both of us put together.
No,
but,
I don't need a nameplate.
But can we show them a full game? Can you show them a good one?
Yeah. Let's do
I
that.
think these are okay. I'm not 100% sure, but...
So this is all happening very fast. We have no idea if this is going to be a 21-3 Fortress carry or if he's going to get stomped.
Let's find out.
Yeah, let's see.
All right. So what you're going to see a Death Metal Krull in this game as well. You're going to see a Candy Twirl Koshka in this game. And, of course, Evil Andre on Fortress. He's been playing a lot of Fortress.
Oh, yeah. He loves Fortress.
Yeah. Hopefully he makes good plays, because I was watching him play a Fortress earlier. That was less than awesome.
This is
but
true.
I think we're going to see some good plays here in this match.
You'll at least get a sense. And you should know, this was playtesting. When we recorded these games, it was playtesting where we were checking very specific things above and beyond just playing a fun competitive match.
Yep. So taking a look at those Scarf and Koshkas
right here. So, your results may vary. We might have been checking a particular item build. We might have been checking to make sure the saw crit bug wasn't there, or who knows what else. But you'll also, of course, notice the changes in the balance of some of the heroes as we go, as well as that bright yellow guitar and the bright red mohawk.
Oh, yeah.
I know,
the Death
so
Metal Krull.
good.
So much fun.
So good.
So one thing about Fortress is, you might notice that Andre will probably not go boots this game.
Yes.
Because as long as you stay near your buddies, you have permanent speed up anyway, so it's all good.
Yep. And if you guys are noticing right out of the gate, Andre is sticking close to Krull when he was dropping down into the jungle, because as long as he is within sort of this close range of him, he can maintain his perk's speed boost. But then, of course, as you notice right now, once he leaves and distance himself too much, then he doesn't have the speed boost anymore, and then he's going to go back and get it back from Krull.
And Fortress can maintain that by being around any ally, right?
Any ally.
Any allied hero.
Any allied hero. That's key. Yes.
Yeah, you can't just be actually next to your minions. Like,
minions,
yes, I'm fast. I'm fast. See, pedal minions, yay.
Yep. And also Fortress and Krull can work really well together in the jungle, because Krull has his perk that allows him to just stop in brush and charge up and run fast, and then Fortress has his perk that makes him run fast just by sticking next to Krull. So if you find a friend and you guys have good enough teamwork, you guys can spend a fair amount, you can cover a lot of distance with both of those two heroes just working together.
You can be very, very fast. The ganks.
Yeah, and the ganks, oh my lord.
Holy cow.
It's bananas.
You thought Krull was scared before. You see him running out of the bush with the Fortress behind him, you are dead.
Yeah, it's bananas.
It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so it looks like Andre here is going for probably, he likes the aftershock build, he likes the clockworks.
Yeah, he
having
does.
that short cooldown, being able to use your
the wolves for the scouting.
Yeah, your wolves and marking upon prey for the extra boost is fantastic.
Totally true. So as we're crossing into about near the 3-minute mark into this game, you'll notice that he's going to be building out a little bit of crystal, as George was describing. He's probably going to be going with aftershock, I agree, but he started the game with an Iron Guard contract, which works really, really well with Fortress, because Fortress tends to lead the charge. He's got the movement speed buff with a melee allied partner, so when he's in the jungle, he's gonna be able to mark things as prey and then leap to that target. Even now, as he's just hanging out in the brush waiting to start a game. Yeah.
Seeing a lot of Shiver Steel, seeing some Warhorn.
Yep. I think Warhorn and Shiver Steel are really good pickups on Fortress. I would even say those are the first ones.
Seeing some experimentation with Contraption as well.
Yep. So this was just bad all the way around. If you notice,
Fortress has gone too far.
Yes, Fortress there. Andre actually did mark Koshka as the prey. He he immediately ended up using his A on her, but Krull ignored that and instead went after Scarf, which probably wasn't a bad choice overall because Scarf can be strong like bull, but it didn't give him any of the benefits that he would have gotten by clumping up the fortress.
Most definitely.
All right, so I think I'm Scarf in this game. So this is giving me some context. So this was a sequence of me playing Scarf 6 games in a row, at just getting a sense of where we are with the Scarf changes.
Yeah.
I don't know, honestly, if this game was before or after the final changes.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I think this was slightly before.
But what I can tell you is that, as someone who plays a ton of Scarf Jungle and was long before, this patch, it is very, very much now.
Yeah.
Like, I hope we still see Scarf.
I'm expecting to see lane Scarfs after this match.
But, the things that people have been experiencing on live in 1.4, that has been very, very strongly addressed.
Yes.
And we will get into all of the details. So whatever the results are of this particular game, rest assured we've been playing Scarf game after Scarf game after Scarf game. We've been bringing in people from Gangstars. We've been bringing in people from Nemesis, any other high elo players that happen to be in the San Francisco Bay Area, playing especially Scarf and Vox along with Fortress. And rest assured, the team, especially Captain Nito's surprise birthday and Zcan actually, have been all over the tuning on this, and I think it's going to feel a lot more in line to you.
Oh yeah. So one thing we did find out is Saw is really good against Scarf early game.
Yeah, he is.
Do you want to mention the key change to Saw?
Oh yeah. So his ultimate,
Yeah.
a Valad ultimate.
Yeah.
He can now crit. And it's now a basic attack, and he can actually crit now.
Yes.
Because before the past patch,
Small detail.
he somehow we
screwed it up. That would be my mistake, guys. I broke the crit on Saw. We were moving and rearranging some code, and I accidentally screwed it up.
You decided he didn't need crits.
I was like, crits OP on Saw. Just stop.
Yeah. Come on, Saw, you don't need that.
Yeah. But yeah, his basic, not his basic attack, his ultimate now registers as a basic attack. And it's pretty strong. If you guys remember the original Saw back in the day, who was really OP, had this exact same kind of thing. There was a point where I had done a revision on Saw's kit where his ultimate no longer was considered a basic attack. And the ultimate instead would simply deal crystal damage, a flat amount of crystal damage, plus a crystal ratio that gave you AoE on it. And thematically, I felt like that really leaned much more heavily into Crystal Saw builds and made him more unique rather than just making it a steroid and an I can win button when he would be, getting down to the last 5 seconds of a fight. But we also felt that was a little bit too punishing for Weapon Saw. So while it was really awesome, I think, for the Crystal Saws that were out there, the Weapon Saws really struggled to be able to maintain the kind of DPS dominance that Saw needs in terms of the trade-off that he had for not having mobility or durability. So when we went back this time and we were talking about it. I was talking about it with Surprise Birthday, and so we ended up making sure that it's now a basic attack, yes, as it was before. So it can proc things that proc off of basic attacks like Tension Bow and anything else that procs off of basic attacks. But we to compensate, we ended up making sure that some of the base damage from that ultimate has been moved into crystal ratio, so that it's not too overwhelming. You get a nice damage boost when you're a Weapon Saw, but it's not going to be a clear, like, he's going to dominate everybody in the whole world all the time kind of deal.
Right. And right now, so Saw, he still has that ramp up period. He is kind of like a baby bird. You want to raise him, and he'll become this awesome thing, which will destroy the world eventually.
Yes.
So we're still seeing a lot of questions. So anyone who's joining us late, the servers are down for update 1.5. That means, yes, Fortress the Wolf is in the next update and is coming along with the changes. Yes, Scarf got a nerf. Yes, Fortress got a nerf, except for his attack speed. And we will be getting into all of those details.
Andre, please. He just ran behind a turret for some
I
reason.
know. I don't know what his strategy was there. That was really odd.
Oh, Andre.
That was really odd.
Allied hero killed. Allied hero killed.
Yes. So the minion candy will help, but not in the way that you think it will. So generally, what minion candy does is it makes wolves, or not even wolves, minions themselves more durable, and that doesn't work for Fortress's wolves. Fortress's wolves' health bars are unique in that they don't actually take damage the way that other AI controlled creatures take damage. They die in a certain number of hits, not in a certain amount of damage. Meaning, after 3 hits, the wolf will die. Whether the 3 hits deal 100 damage or whether they deal 10 damage, as long as it's not from a buff, because so arcane fire and things like that are not going to count. But as long as you deal a basic attack or an ability that deals damage to these wolves, it counts as a single hit, and after 3 hits, the wolves will be dispersed. Yep. So in that case, minion candy is not going to give you much by way of health, and it's not going to increase their durability. It will, however, make their bites slightly stronger. So if you wanted to minion candy the wolves after they come out, you can help make their bites have a little bit more punch. That will totally work.
I'm starting to remember this match a little bit. I was really focused on testing the fan the flames damage. So if you see me go 1v3 into the enemy team and into a turret, it's probably because I was seeing how much damage fan the flames was doing as I chased someone. So probably every single person in this match had a secondary agenda of something they were testing. So if you see any funky play in this match, you'll know why.
Yeah, also we're bad at the game.
We're not
so sometimes we just suck.
This is true.
Yeah. Though I'm really curious to see what Andre's. I mean, he's gonna try to mark this guy as prey, and he really should have.
I think he should jump in right here.
Yeah, he should have.
Andre,
he should have jumped box, and he didn't do much of anything there. So this, and I felt like I was watching him play this game, and I was like, "What's going on?" Like, there's so many opportunities here.
Oh no.
But no. Yep. Now Fox. He's not even helping his friend. Come on, Andre, get in there, bro.
This is pretty typical of Andre.
Yeah, that's
Andre doesn't even need to help his friend. Kraken's got this.
Okay, and now he goes in. I know. That was like
nothing makes sense.
Braveheart's the Kashka. Couple of quick notes. So one thing that's really important to note: the pack wolves from Fortress. It takes 3 hits to kill them.
Yes.
It's like 3 ticks of health, and that I don't care if that is an ult and 2 basic attacks or whatever it is.
Yeah,
it's Oh, you said that right?
Yeah,
Maybe
totally
I was running out of the room.
It's totally okay.
All right, but yeah, this is super important because you can kite the wolves and get rid of them. Otherwise, they're going to be all up over you, and you're going to be like, "Why didn't my aftershock kill the wolf?" It's because you got to hit it. You got to hit the wolf 3 times.
Yep.
One other thing to note: the sanctuary, the enemy sanctuary, will not kill the wolves.
Well, they will kill the wolves eventually.
No, it won't.
But it won't kill the wolves immediately.
It won't kill the wolves.
Yeah, it will kill them in 3 hits.
No,
it does not.
It won't.
Because percentage health damage.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the health is 1.
Oh, good
They have 1
point.
bit of health.
So it won't. So technically the sanctuary...
the base cannon won't kill the wolves.
Yeah, it will just gently love tap them.
Yeah.
So you will still need to kite the wolves all the way up into your platforms.
Nah, they don't hurt enough to outfit the heal.
As soon as you get the feel for it, it's not terrible. You just have to remember, you just want to kite. You just want to move and attack, and you can eliminate a wolf. They're much more utility. They're much more for identifying where enemies' heroes are and applying bleeding than they are to do burst damage or anything like that.
Yep. Oh, Andre's going a little bit ham, not really going that tanky build.
No, he's not going
Does Frostburn work on wolves is the question in the chat.
Does Frostburn work on wolves? We tested that, right? And
yes.
It does. Yes.
Because bleeding.
Yes, because of bleeding.
Yeah.
Not because the wolves do.
So it's an exciting combination to try out.
Yes, so you can Frostburn and make the wolves even more annoying if you choose.
Though...
Sugar Venom, any questions coming out of chat that the guys should answer?
A lot of people ask they want to know if it's going to be only available for ice at first,
Yes, so it is going to be a week of ice, early access for ice.
Yes.
So 1 week early access for Fortress with ice. If you want to support Super Evil, you want the game to stick around, you want Captain Nito to not fire me, then think about getting Fortress with ice. Wow. Downsizing, always scary. Save my job, get Fortress with ice in the early access week, and starting next week, you will be able to get Fortress.
And a lot of people want to know what
So the question, just to repeat the question, because the mic's a little bit far away from Sugar Venom.
Repeat.
Weapon or crystal or utility, what is kind of your recommendation on how you should start out with Fortress?
My recommendation is, so we changed a lot of these numbers in the last couple of days because we wanted to make sure that we had a really interesting build style for him. He definitely trends support, so he's viable going with purple and yellow. If you don't want to take him defense and you want to be able to pack more of a punch, weapon will always work. I mean, it's super effective, but crystal is much. I was about to say, crystal is much better on Fortress than weapon was.
You're on top of things.
Yes. His crystal ratios are actually pretty good, but keep in mind you'll lose a little bit of durability on that. And Fortress doesn't have great escape. He has really good invade, but he doesn't have a way to get back out. He's an
initiator.
Yeah, he's an initiator, and his base stats are pretty effective for giving him a little bit of durability if he's going to take some pressure when he gets in the heart of a team fight, but it's not going to be as much as I think you're going to be comfortable with if you want to stay alive. So you're probably going to be wanting to devote some of your item builds to giving him some solid defense and utility, and then the rest you can spend on crystal, and you'll find that it'll be super effective.
So one thing I do recommend on him is try the aftershock and Jumbo build, maybe not the Jumbo, but having the aftershock is nice if you want to do a little bit of damage.
Yep.
Just so you don't, just like block people once or something.
Right.
But Fortress is really all about ice shield. You make your teammates much more effective, especially those melees, especially like Saw, those slow moving, burly dudes that come in and like blow people up eventually.
Hero kills.
You make them so good.
Yes.
And I definitely expect to be seeing like more triple melee comps just because Fortress will always let you catch up to you.
And if you join us late, we are going to take you through all the hero and item balance changes, as well as talk again about the 2 new items in the game. So lots of very important changes to the meta overall and to hero tuning, and we'll take you through all of that as we go.
Yeah, and you guys just saw Andre bite it pretty hard when he tried to jump in on that Koshka. And a solid reminder that Fortress is going to need a little bit by way of durability, especially into late game, in order to make sure that if he's taking a lot of team pressure, that he's going to be able to walk away from it. And in this case, he's got a Shiver Steel, which gives him a little bit of something, but overall he just doesn't have. I mean, the build that he's going with Aftershock and Clockwork is much more centered around playing a scout kind of Fortress.
This was an experiment.
A hit and run scout rather than a bruiser kind of tanky Fortress that can stay in the heart of the team fight and not die.
Yeah, it's pretty important to recognize this is not even Andre's typical build. This is him experimenting with having his abilities up more often and have the same fun. Experiment, see what works for you. If you want to go kind of a real utility build and stay with your teammates, or you want to try to go kind of more cooldown ability as you're seeing here, which I haven't seen be quite as effective as the former, but it's interesting to experiment with.
Yep. So one thing, if you want to go a bit more tank in this game, build the Aegis.
Yeah.
There's a ton of crystal damage on red team.
Yep.
And an Aegis or even a Fountain for 400 for their team. Sunfire.
Run!
He is dead.
He died.
He is salty. However, his team,
yeah, is cleaning up shop.
Is maybe cleaning up shop? Oh,
yeah,
there we go.
I think
maybe,
so.
Maybe.
Yep, they should have.
There we go.
There we go.
Worth. That's what you call worth.
That's right. He gave his life for his teammates.
Yes. Always a good trade.
Always a good trade.
Yeah, we see Yasukoi on Ringo doing 9-1, so Fortress giving us life, but Ringo's doing really well for it.
Yeah, doing really well. This is a good game.
This is a good game.
Yep. So other questions that people are asking that are running by in chat, just quick things to mention. So Fortress's Wolves do not stack Breaking Point. Keep in mind though, Fortress's Wolves, they inflict bleeding by default with their basic attacks. So that means that if one of Fortress's Wolves bites you, it doesn't need to be Fortress's B ability to actually start off the bleeding. You will start bleeding the moment you take the first bite from a Fortress Wolf. Now it will take the bleeding damage is not going to be your big troublesome barrier, but it will, after 5 stacks, pop and turn into a mortal wound and slow you and spike you with a bunch of damage. So you want to keep in mind, especially if you're playing against Fortress, when you see that the wolves, when he's unleashed the hounds, and you'll hear him howl, it's global across the map. When you hear him howl and you know the wolves are unleashed, you might want to pause what you're doing just to kill the wolf that's after you, because his pack wolves can very easily get the bleeding stacks up to max 5 and end up making you really annoyed with yourself.
Oh yeah, also be a little bit wary about throwing your bolts to minions. Minions are pretty good at killing wolves.
They're really, really good. Again, because it's not how much damage you do, it's how many times you deal the damage to them. And after three instances of damage, the wolves will depart. So at that point, you probably don't want to send them into turrets and minion waves.
Sugar Venom, any other questions out of the chat?
Oh yeah, a lot of people knew about the balance changes. I know you guys have been talking about that kind of stuff, so they want to know if Kettle got a balance change, and Scarf and Vox, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so after this match, we'll start taking you through the hero balance changes.
Hero balance
If you don't want to do that now, you can talk about Broken Myth. No, if you guys didn't do it.
Let's talk about that after.
Yeah,
we will totally talk about.
All right, all the balance tuning to come. Balance tuning to come.
How about cards? Any updates to cards?
Oh yeah, I mean, so this update adds tier 1 skins for Arden, that's Stormlord Arden, Kilojewel 9000, and Death Metal Krull. Adds tier 2 skins for Prehistoric Lave, Candy Twirl Kashka, and Shogun Ringo. We'll show you Candy Twirl Kashka and Shogun Ringo again a little later in the broadcast. Adds more cards and adds epic cards. So legendary cards still to come, and more epic cards, all of the cards still to come, but you're going to start to see epic cards which are even more rare to have dropped than the rare cards. So, and they're cooler. All the cards get cooler and cooler. So, and you need those epic cards to be able to weave tier 2 skins.
Yep.
As we unveil tier 2 skins for, being able to do stuff. And once again, for anyone who's, hasn't read the Skin System Survival Guide article or heard us talk about it before, it's obviously optimal to get the tier 1 skin with ice because you need all the same cards for the tier 2 plus epic cards. And then tier 3 needs common, rares, epics, and legendary cards, even more stuff. So trying to optimize your card use is always a good idea if you can afford it. And if you can't, save up your cards and you can weave everything. You have to weave them in order. So, if you want Death Metal Krull tier 2, you're going to have to get the tier 1 first. So think about how you're going to use your cards and your ice accordingly.
Yep.
And not in 1.5, but coming in the future still, is the Get Cards section of the market. When the Get Cards section of the market is unveiled, you'll be able to get cards faster, and those requirements won't feel as steep, and that includes using Glory to get cards faster. So there will be ways to get cards. Oh, I know.
So that was Andre not playing Fortress as he should play Fortress.
Right.
Not a team player.
Not a team player at all.
He wasn't a team player at all. He's like lone wolf in this game.
Yeah, he unleashed the hounds and then he ran.
Yeah.
and then let his teammates die, and then he went back and cleaned up and picked over the bones of his enemies.
A little bit questionable.
Yeah, very very questionable. Also, classic Andre.
This is true.
Can't say it's a shock.
I will agree with that one.
Yep. But yeah, not what we would encourage as good Fortress play.
What would you encourage as good Fortress play?
Fortress works best when I think that Fortress is playing a hard support, meaning that he is a super durable support right in the heart of things. I actually do think Frostburn, the more that I think about it, Frostburn on a Fortress is going to be amazing.
It will be amazing if you have a good amount of crystal too.
Yes, and if you have a good amount of crystal. But I mean, if you do that, if you do maybe a little bit of attack speed, because again, you can make those mortal wounds proc really quickly, or if you end up mixing in things like Atlas Pauldron, because you're going to be lunging at people. If you're going to lunge at that Saw or you're going to lunge at that Ringo, it's great to just cut their basic attack damage down significantly. Like, there's so many ways that he can tilt a fight in his favor that I don't feel he needs to be the primary damage dealer in order for him to be cleaning house with the other team. Like, he's going to be that MVP player in the back that nobody expects, and he's just going to be the one making it happen.
Marking people as prey.
Marking people as prey, saying kill that guy.
Stacks.
Yep, bleeding people out. It's just gonna be bananas.
And one thing we haven't talked about Fortress is that he actually offers pretty good map control.
Yes, yeah, he does.
Yeah, being able to use attack as attack, particularly, I mean, it's not a super short run, but if you have slow acceleration, it becomes pretty reasonable.
Yeah, it does.
And it really lets you advance your team's position really well, because you hit your ultimate, rolls around. They might not be useful in a fight if you do that,
Yeah.
but you'll know exactly where it goes.
Exactly, and that's the key. Like, and especially if you combine the new item contraption with Fortress, like, it allows him to just have very, very clear map control and understand what the shape of things are. Like, your vision is so good. You can unleash your pack at any moment. You can drop flares all over the place and scout traps. It really allows him and with that, with the wave clear given by contraption, it just makes you super effective at pushing down the lanes when it's opportunistic. It's one of those things that is just kind of like Jerry built for Fortress.
So one other thing is being able to. Oh, someone was asking in chat rather.
Yeah.
Is Fortress's ult global? Sort of.
Yeah. Okay. So the answer is yes, in that he can cast it anywhere without having had anybody targeted, and you will hear him howl no matter where he is. So yeah. So you know the wolves are around. So in that sense, yes, it's global. The wolves that he creates will live for a certain amount of time, or until 15 seconds, or until somebody has attacked them 3 times. So in a way, and you see this right now when Andre just released the wolves a little bit ago. The wolves are going to go seek out their enemy hero counterparts. And in that sense, yes, it is global. Combine that with a Celeste when she has her ult going, and you can have some really fascinating team plays come together.
So Vox still strong, but not overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like he landed like pretty much a 3-man before, and
he's still almost lost.
Allied hero killed.
But you know, pretty solid.
Yeah, not too bad. And don't worry if you guys are watching this and you're nervous because Vox seems strong. We have and can confirm we have rebalanced Vox in 1.5. That said, you may be watching a recording in which Vox has not been rebalanced yet because we were making changes all throughout the dev cycle to both Vox and Scarf. So at various times within the dev cycle he has been stronger and at other times he's been weaker, but yes, Vox has been rebalanced for 1.5 along with Scarf.
And this Vox is actually pretty interesting.
Yeah,
he has alternating current, using carbon, phosphor, broken myth, and a metal jacket.
Yeah.
So a metal jacket, that's not something you see very commonly, but he sees that the enemy team is going, well, not particularly weapon.
Right. But that's the only real threat he has,
But what's
I guess,
interesting, and we'll get into all of the Vox changes, but you know, we've seen kind of the golden duo of Eve and alternating current on Vox, and Crystal Vox will still be a thing, but I think we will see more weapon Vox in 1.5,
yes.
and we'll get into why.
Target damage.
Yep.
And I'm really excited for that. I love playing with Vox. I think he's really excited to play.
Yeah, he is.
And the skill build is a little bit different. He actually matches the instant your beat. Crystal Vox is always going for that beat. You want the extra resonance damage. Find weapon Vox, you want that extra speed. You want to be able to draw your Sonic Zoom as much as possible.
Yep.
And stay mobile in fights.
All right, we'll get into all of that, obviously,
We have so
as we
many
go.
talkers in there right now wanting to know if these wolves are going to be the fight.
About that.
Yes, let's talk about
we have
Tonka
talked
and the
about
box.
this,
Okay, so good call and really good question.
Can you repeat the question?
So the question is whether or not if Fortress were to use his ultimate and attack with his pack, because a wolf tracks each of the enemy heroes if you are an enemy Taka, does that mean, and you go into your box, does the wolf track you? This is actually kind of cool.
Hero
Oh, is he gonna get it?
He's got this.
Okay, good. I was about to be mad if you didn't get that. I was like, seriously, bro? So yeah, the answer is yes.
Well,
You will be, but with a caveat. You will be tracked by the enemy wolf, but the enemy wolf will not be able to attack you until you become visible again. So what this means is, this allows for cases where you don't have, you won't as a Taka end up in a situation where if you decide to box, that one of Fortress's wolves, which moves really quickly, would find you and bite you and immediately reveal you. That would be horrible and annoying, and we actually had that happen in playtest, and everybody was like, flip a table, what the heck, this is horrible. So instead, what we've done as a caveat to both Fortress and Taka, the wolf that is sent after Taka will track him, but it will not bite him until he is visible of his own accord, that he's come out of his box. So hopefully that helps.
No one needs to see that. Okay, let's move this over now. Wow.
Yeah. It's
All right.
great.
There we go.
I'm on
Things are
camera.
okay.
I'm in the middle. This is amazing.
This is true.
All right. Other questions?
So something has started to circulate on Twitter because it is a marketing image associated with the new update. I don't know if we can get our hands on it to show here, or else people can go find it pretty easily. But you can get a glimpse into the scarf skin, which I'm not going to say it's the official name, but at least the title we've been using internally is the Infinity Scarf skin.
I like to call it an extra fluffy scarf.
You can catch a glimpse of the scarf skin. Where's that image again? I believe it's actually. You can actually see Tier 1 and Tier 2 of Infinity Scarf online if you look hard enough right now.
If you look hard enough.
Is that really what we're calling it?
Yeah, it's Infinity Scarf.
Yeah, and we will leave this as a treasure hunt for you guys. We're not going to tell you where to find it. But yes, if you are so inspired and you want to see what Scarf's Infinity skin looks like, you can run out there and check it out. It's awesome. Yeah, this game is actually turning quite handily towards Team Blue. Even with Fortress is actually while we've been talking, he's doing okay.
He's doing okay.
You know, he's 8 and 7. That's not horrible.
That's actually quite a lot of kills for a
Yeah,
Fortress.
that's a lot for Fortress.
This is Lone Wolf Fortress.
Yeah.
I mean, not
Andre special.
not typical.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty cool.
All right, so we got more games to show you. Maybe one of those. Unfortunately, it might be Evil Andre in all these games, and he's crazy. But maybe we'll see a typical Fortress in one of these games. But you definitely get a sense of the abilities. And hey,
hello, we're back.
Yeah,
hello, friends. How are you?
In the middle, Captain Nito.
Hello,
head
everybody.
of creative, lead hero designer, Fortress designer.
Hi.
Getting to sit in with us, talk about all the changes. We can talk a little bit about some balance changes if you want.
I do like talking about balance changes. This is fun.
Balance changes are
All
very
right, I'm going to pull up this live balance document.
I think it's a good thing to do.
Yeah.
Let's start from the top.
All right.
What do you want to talk
Start
about
from the
first?
top. Why don't we start with
You want to talk about gameplay
Vox and
first?
Scarf?
All right, Vox and Scarf. Where
Yeah.
are they? Scarf.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to take it away?
No. Why don't you go ahead and read the details? I can just explain if what the reasoning and the thinking behind.
All right. Scarf was very strong.
He was very strong.
What we did was
You think?
first, Fan the Flames.
Yeah.
Damage down from 4% plus 2% per hit to 1.5 plus 1.5% per hit.
Yes.
However, on top of that, we removed the piercing from it, but it now scales with crystal.
Yes.
Every 100 crystal will give it 1% more, damage on both the base and the scaling.
Yep.
On per attack, Fan the Flames.
And I'm so excited about that because now you can be rewarded for building Crystal Blue on a mage.
Right.
And you'll notice that as we keep going through the Scarf changes, that this was a big focus for us on changing Scarf in general. Is we wanted to make sure that Scarf was rewarded with damage when you would play Scarf and buy blue, and support him in those crystal ratios, but simultaneously not allow Scarf to just have free damage that allowed players to play him super tanky and then have the best of both worlds.
So on top of these two changes, there's also refresh duration down from 3.5 to 2.0 on Fan of Flames. This means if you hit a Fan of Flames at like the 3.1 second mark, you get another attacking really fast.
Yes.
It's still going to be 3.1 seconds.
Yep.
But if you get below the 2 second mark and say you have 1 second left on Fan of Flames, you hit them with a basic attack, it goes back up to 2.
Yes.
Not 3.5.
Right.
So basically, if you can get out of range, then
fine.
it's going to run out, and you're going to not feel nearly as bad as you did. before.
Yeah, so for people that are playing against Scarves, what this basically means in your experience is going to be that if you can run away from Scarf, the flames that are on you will go out faster. Now keep in mind though, the initial application of Fan the Flames, of the burn that Scarf is going to do, still has a 3.5 second duration. This is important because it gives Scarf players an opportunity to try and rush up and land a basic attack and start fanning the flames. But whenever you're fanning the flames thereafter, the window of time is reduced to 2 seconds. So you're only reapplying it back for 2 seconds, not for 3.5.
So one good tip is, if Scarf runs at you and fans the flames, and you have boots, take the hit and run away.
Yep, that is the way to do it.
Yep. On top of that, AoE reduced from 3.5 to 2 meters, just making it look more visually accurate.
like it makes more visual sense. And now you'll notice, so people may ask, why was Scarf's original change in 1.4 to have the 4% up front and then 2% thereafter? And part of that concession was there's a lot of frustration when people are being set on fire, that you notice that you're taking so much damage too late. You don't notice the damage until by the time you notice the damage, you're about to die. Yep. So in shifting around the numbers, we still wanted to make sure that you would notice the damage early, or at least not be punished for not noticing the damage too late. And that's why you'll see that the time of the burn drops off after you start fanning the flames. And that helps keep that concession, while simultaneously lowering the numbers to a range where we felt like it was appropriate, and also gave him a reward for buying Crystal.
But wait, that's not all.
That is not all.
So, on top of all of that for Phantom Flames, Spitfire's fireball speed has been dropped from 12 to 9 to 11 based on level.
Yes.
So the higher you level it, the faster it'll go.
Yes. And we've watched a lot of Scarf play on live, and we play a lot of Scarf internally. And there was a lot of, especially when you're laning against Scarf, there was a lot of frustration in trying to dodge the fireball. Mm-hmm. The hit collision for the fireball is a little bit forgiving for the Scarf's sake, but we also wanted to make sure that players felt like that if you were quick on your toes, you would be able to dodge it. And now you have that opportunity. It also means that if you want to apply that burn as Scarf, you're going to have to take a little bit more risk early game. You're going to have to get a little bit closer to people, try to shotgun flame them, which, while viable, does put you at much more risk for taking damage, and forces players to have to make that choice, forces a Scarf player to make that choice.
However, to compensate, we've bumped up the crystal ratio from 90% to 140, so
yes.
50% crystal ratio increase on that.
So if you're a smarty Scarf and you manage to land that Spitfire and you predict where they're going to go, they're going to feel it.
You get rewarded for high quality play.
Yes.
And this thing that we're seeing so much right now, where people can just build all tank and still go 24 and 3.
Right.
You know, if you're going to go 24 and 3 as a mage, as Scarf, you need to be building Crystal. You need to be building the damage to be able to carry like that.
Exactly.
So could you still do a fountain, a swift shooter into a fountain Scarf? You could, but you are going to feel the difference. I promise you that.
Yes.
And you are going to, mid-match, feel like, you know what, I should be going more Skipper.
Yes.
I should be going more Eve, I should be going more Shatterglass, and you're going to want to adjust to feel like you can do the damage output. But if you build appropriately, you're still going to feel like you can definitely influence games.
Yeah, the goal is never to make tank Scarf not viable. The goal is to make sure that a tanky Scarf is not going to be the carry.
Yes.
At the end of the day, it is still a thing that you can do, and you can absolutely support your team and give support damage if you're going to be playing a tanky Scarf. But you're not going to be able to be the I can win button in the heart of things. You're really going to have to take the risk and invest your money into blue in order to be able to pull out that kind of damage.
Right. So if you want to go like tanky Scarf, it'll still work for the early game.
Yes.
It'll still be okay up until like level 6, level 7.
Yep.
Once you hit that point, if you're not building blue,
it's going to drop off pretty dramatically.
But if you want to play that early game strategy, it still works.
Yes.
But what's interesting is, well, first of all, I really feel the difference in terms of not being an insane level 1 bully where I can just 1v3 everyone. I'm still a strong early game hero. I'm still a strong match start hero who might look to pick a fight at level 1, but it's not obscene.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Right? That's number 1. And then number 2, the changes with the jungle monster camps also can change strategy, so it might be viable for a team that says, all right, the other team, they got a Kashka and a Scarf. That's a very strong early game combo. Let's just take our back camps.
Yep.
And if we give up the little, then no big deal, right?
Little.
We'll survive giving up the little so long as we clean up everything else. We avoid the level 1 fight, get ourselves in a better position for the first skirmish or the first team fight.
Yeah.
So if people play smart, it will not feel toxic. If you go, face check a fireball,
it'll still hurt.
It's still going to hurt.
It's going to hurt.
As it should.
People get rewarded for hitting that skill shot, and if you're too close to them and they're getting 6 basic attacks off after that, you know what? You'll probably still die, but that's on you.
Yes.
But we've tested this just continuously. We always have to see what happens when we
release on live. We never should make any promises that something is amazing. Because yes, in theory it is amazing. We have tested it as best as we can, and we have recruited other people that are quite good at the game to test it and give us their feedback. And we hope that we can deliver to you guys heroes that feel really visceral and balanced.
Yeah. So you'll have to tell us if we got it right, and we'll be paying attention. But we can promise you, we've made every effort to make it so Scarf doesn't feel toxic, but still is meaningful.
Yes. All right. But wait, that's still not all.
Still not all for Scarf.
Goop Pool, the burst crystal ratio from Goop Pool is up from 40% to 80%, and the burn ratio is also from 50% to 80%.
Yes.
So if you land your skill shots on Scarf, as a crystal carry, you will do some damage.
Yes, so that is key. And keep in mind, we're not talking about base damage here. We are talking about crystal ratios. This rewards players that are going to buy crystal on Scarf. It rewards them with the damage that they would expect Scarf to be able to do. He can be a crystal carry, and we never set out to actually remove that from him, because otherwise he wouldn't be viable as a hero at all. We simply wanted to make sure that in order for you to have that power, you had to invest the gold to do so. So these are higher crystal ratios on all of his basics, and you feel it.
Oh, yeah.
You really feel it.
As a mage, he truly feels quite awesome.
Yes.
And just a few more changes on him. Dragon Breath damage down, so base damage is down a little bit. So we wanted to move a little bit more of the power into those, A and B abilities. Those the Spitfire, the Fan of Flames, the Goop Pool. And we actually did bump his move speed down, which I accidentally leaked last time on the stream. But we totally bumped his move speed down from 3.4 to 3.3.
Right. Which again will mean that your early game choices on when you buy your boots and how quickly you upgrade those boots are going to really matter. As you guys have played Scarf, you know that he has some early game fragility, and you're going to have to compensate with that by buying your escape or by buying your durability.
And finally, his armor at level 12 is down from 108 to 86.
Yes.
Not huge, but
not huge.
Putting him more in line with everything else.
Yeah,
it's part of the same theme.
Yeah, and it gives a tank Scarf a reason to be tanky and to feel different than a Scarf that does not invest in go tanky. It more just separates the two a lot easier in this patch. The tanky Scarves are going to be building that way deliberately, but they're not going to feel like the hard crystal blue Scarves, which are going to be hitting like a Mack truck, but will be much more glass cannons.
All right, now do you want to talk about Vox?
Vox, let's just jump in.
Let's do it.
Before we move on, are there any questions on Scarf that we should address before we move on?
I'm not seeing much of anything. People ask if Frostburn's going to be awesome on him.
Frostburn's going to be awesome.
Frostburn's always awesome.
It's awesome on everybody.
If you have enough crystal, it's awesome.
If you have enough crystal, it's key.
If you don't,
it's not awesome at all.
Awesome on
You're totally right. Yeah.
For anyone who joined us late, what about the card system? Yes, there are epic cards in this update. There are more cards. There are more skins. 3 new Tier 1 skins, 3 new Tier 2 skins, a lot more cards, lots of fun. And we'll be with you until you can play Fortress.
Yeah.
Pretty much. All right, let's go into Vox. So Vox, he was pretty strong this past patch.
Yeah.
And probably the patch before that.
Yeah.
So some things were done to him.
Some things were done to Vox.
Yeah.
Again, keep in mind, we're about to share you guys some details, but the idea is never to make a hero irrelevant.
Yes.
No.
We're not trying to punish the hero for being powerful. The goal is to keep that power.
Damn it, Vox.
Exactly. Damn it, Vox.
Going down.
The goal is to make the hero super viable, that the players have to unlock that power through gold, through savvy play, through tactical play. And so we wanted to shift Vox's numbers where we thought that they were too egregious. We brought them down, and we moved some of the numbers in different places. But he was pretty strong.
It's a good word, egregious.
Thank you.
Indeed.
It's an excellent word.
Oh, thank you.
All right, in any case.
Google egregious if you don't know what the word means. Okay, jump in, George. I'm sorry.
I didn't know what it meant.
Vox's resonance crystal ratio is down from 50% to 35%.
Yes.
That's pretty big.
It is. It's a pretty sizable chunk down. Now, what this does is it means that, so the crystal ratio that you're going to gain by resonance and resonant bouncing is going to be lower. It still makes it viable. It just doesn't make it overwhelming.
Yes. So this basically means that in the 1v1 duel, a crystal Vox will not be ridiculous.
Yes, that's the key.
He should never be able to outduel like a weapon Ringo, assuming they have the same amount of gold.
Right.
All right. On top of that,
and for the people asking, I'm literally right now trying to get the update notes done and live. This is all happening so fast. I'm like, that's what I'm doing. If you're seeing me stare down, I'm writing the update notes for the newsfeed. So,
cut him some slack.
If you want to read all of these details and digest it for yourself, as fast as I can type, I am getting that out to you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so by the way, since I am here on stream and I can actually see his computer, pro tip, he's not doing any of that. He's surfing the web. He is not doing any work at all. We don't know if he ever does really any work around here, but he's totally surfing Reddit. This is a complete lie. He just didn't want to have to feel accountable for it.
You know what's the funniest part about that, George? I actually thought he was about to compliment me. I thought he was going to be like, now that I have a chance and I'm here, I'd just like to say what yeoman's work Blackbeard does on behalf of Super Evil. No, instead,
so it's like,
dagger right in the back.
Right in the back and twisted.
Good, perfect Super Evil style. I couldn't have a better boss. I mean that seriously, though. All right, please continue.
All right, so Vox.
All right, Resonance Amp from Pulse applies to heroes only. So
Yes.
basically this means he doesn't wave clear like a monster anymore.
No.
He'll walk in a lane, you'll have that B leveled up, and you'll be like,
Yep.
And the minions take some damage.
Yeah, and the minions take some damage, which is good. But you have to work a little bit more for the wave clear. And that's overall for all the heroes. You've noticed that we corrected that a little bit in the last patch for Celeste as well.
In fact, more so for Celeste.
Yes, definitely so. It gives Contraption a really good spot for
makes
support.
those minion mines
And it makes them
worth
valuable.
taking.
Really, really valuable.
So yeah, we definitely put a premium on wave clear this patch.
Yes.
And taking those minion mines is actually super, super important. So
Yes.
highly recommend trying it out.
Yep.
So on top of that, Vox, a few more things. Resonance bounces down from 3 to 2 targets.
3 to 2 targets.
So making it even harder to wave clear, makes it so those gold mine fights only bounces to 2 enemy heroes.
Yep.
And not
Not to
all
all
3.
three.
However, if it's a 3-on-3 fight, you still get everyone.
Yeah.
Though with less damage.
Yes, less damage.
And a pretty big one. Resonance bounce range down from 5 to 4 meters. Doesn't sound huge.
Yeah, it doesn't sound huge,
But-
but you'll feel it.
Yeah, you'll feel it. When you're playing Vox, you will feel it.
Yes, you will definitely feel it. And there are moments where you could get that last bounce or get that extra harass, specifically in lane. Like, you know, you'd have those situations where you're playing against a Vox, and, you know, he would resonance, and then he would just, like, he'd bounce his basic attack right off of me, and you thought you were clear. You thought you were well out of the way, and you would still take that harass. It now gives you a little bit more freedom when you're playing against it, and forces Vox to really use his mobility, which is where his kit synergizes, to actually get those bounces or to make that harass actually stick. And I wanted to see more of that come out from Vox anyway, so I thought that it was a savvy change.
Oh yeah, so and another 2 things.
Yeah.
Resonance no longer bounces off of Kraken.
This one's a big one.
Yeah, this is actually huge because prior to this, if you took a Kraken against a Crystal Vox, you probably just made a huge mistake.
Yes.
Because it would just die and you couldn't even escort it because
No.
the Resonance procs were just like boing,
We're
boing,
bouncing
boing,
off
boing,
of him.
boing.
Yeah, exactly. There was no way to escort a Kraken against an enemy Vox without taking significant risk and harass. And now we allow on both sides, both when you're trying to drop a Kraken that's coming or heading your way, or a Kraken that you're trying to escort. In those situations when you're playing against an enemy Vox, you'll be okay. The
However,
Kraken's not going to bounce it.
However, to compensate a little bit for this,
Yep.
we did bump up his attack speed a bit. So he's 144 at level 12 to 160.5.
Yes.
And this will definitely make Weapon Vox a bit more viable.
It does, and it's a little bit of a steroid towards Weapon Vox. And if you'll notice with the corrections, you might rub your chin and think like, okay, you know what, that's not too bad, and that's true. They're strong enough that we feel it puts Vox's playstyle into a much more synergistic place with the rest of the heroes in the palette, but it's not so strong as to not make Crystal Vox viable.
Yes.
And it more importantly allows players that do love Vox to really start exploring with a Weapon Vox build and see what all the hype is about, because it's actually Weapon Vox is super viable. And now with this small steroid of attack speed, you'll get more bang for your buck.
What I really like is like going into a game, if you can think through a team comp with your buddies and be like, you know what, with this comp that we want to try out, it would make much more sense to do a Weapon Vox.
Yeah.
Whereas right now in 1.4, if you said to someone, you know what, I want to do a Weapon Vox in this one, they'd be like, how about you don't? How about you play Scarf?
Well,
right?
to be
So-
fair, we
Yeah.
did see a few Weapon Voxes in the ESL matches.
Well, but
That's true.
I mean,
They did
we're
win.
getting next level. But I think that in most of the tiers of play, the way it's kind of trickled through is this kind of impression that if you're not doing Crystal Box, you're doing it wrong.
Right.
And now I think it's really a viable, legitimate decision that you can base off of a number of factors.
Right.
And,
Yes.
and we tend to do that with a lot of the heroes. We want there to be a real choice between which way you go. And so that I think is exciting. And like Nito was saying, our goal isn't to nerf bat these heroes out of the meta or out of competitive play.
Right.
It's to bring it as best we can manage to do in line with the rest of the Pantheon so that you have maximum choice and maximum kind of creative control over the comps you can put together.
Yes.
So our goal is basically to make everything viable and competitively.
Yes.
And everything feel pretty much in line with each other in any tier of play.
Yes.
And a little bit tough to do, but we're working on it. We're working on it.
And it can't all be done at the same time.
Yeah.
Hence, our girl that we love that rides a Lotus Throne.
Petal.
I know.
Mommy.
I'm so sorry. Though, I will say, this patch I expect to see more Petal, even though we haven't made any changes to her.
Yeah,
I
because
think
the meta has
because of what is going to be played.
Yeah.
And because we reduced wave clear and all of that. Petal will actually be pretty good at pushing. She's good against Scarf. She's actually good against Saw, who I expect to be played much more often. And I can see her being played again.
Yeah, but that being said, at some point you have to draw the line because we already have Scarf changes, Vox changes, Saw changes, Kashka tuning, Celeste tuning, Jewel tuning. We haven't even gotten to all of this yet.
And then we got Fortress.
Yeah.
And a new hero. And at some point, and 2 new items, and item tuning.
Oh, yeah.
At some point, and meta changes.
So many
It's like,
things.
at some point you have to draw the line, otherwise you just have too many variables and you risk not doing things well.
Oh, yeah.
So it doesn't mean we don't care about Petal. Quite the contrary.
No,
The
I love
conversations
Petal.
are ongoing about Petal. We want Petal to be viable. We want Petal played. We want to see Bug Petal skins everywhere.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But at some point you have to draw the line and say, better to wait a release or two and make sure we get this right rather than trying to rush something out and then wishing we had done it differently.
Right.
Yes. And it does take a while to make changes that gain our own confidence internally here. I know a lot of players are like, well, just change the numbers. And again, it's the play testing time and the thought and how you end up making those corrections that are incredibly challenging to do well. And then after you've made the corrections that you proposed, you have to test and test and test and test and test over and over and over again. And it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of thought, it takes a lot of attention, and it takes a lot of devs. So overall, we move as fast as we feel we safely can. But don't worry, if there's heroes out there that you think are need to be rebalanced or need to go up or down in their power levels or something like that, we probably have heard of it, and we have our Eye of Sauron slowly turning towards them at some point, and we will end up making everything perfect eventually.
If you joined us late, we're going to show you another Fortress game, and we're going to talk through the abilities again, as well as we'll show you the skin reveals again at some point.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So let's talk about Jewel and let's hop into a Fortress game.
Okay.
So Jewel, last DSL.
Yeah.
Before this one, we saw some Jewel.
Yeah, we saw some Jewel.
It was like 1 Thunderstrike crit for like 2,500 damage.
It was a lot of damage.
Combined.
It was
But
a fair
to be
amount of
fair,
damage.
Yeah, there's a
getting
lot of
that-
mitigating factors
yeah.
there.
Yes.
A lot of factors.
The
Making
thing
that
about
happen is
Jewel
hard.
is there are games where
Yeah.
she's okay. She does well.
Yeah.
And there are games where you hit everyone and they die.
Yes.
And there are games where you miss everyone and you're like,
And you do nothing. Yeah.
So we made a few minor changes to Jewel.
Minor changes.
So the first thing, well, the only thing really is we
Yeah.
changed Thunderstrike around a little bit. The bonus piercing is down from 15 to 40% to 10 to 20%. However, we changed the cooldown from 3.5 to 3.5, scaling down to 3 seconds.
Yes.
And this means that if you max it out, you're gonna be able to cast your Thunderstrike more often, but it won't hit quite as hard, and you're gonna be able to counterbuild her more reasonably.
Yes. So, that reduction in piercing, and this is similar to what the kinds of things that you might see happen on Scarf as well. I felt that we were more liberal in giving away piercing, both weapon or crystal piercing, to both Jewel and Scarf in the past, and we want to correct that by pulling the back in and making sure that there's clear counterplay to those heroes for people that need to be able to defend and build against it. And in this case, your cooldown is going to drop significantly. And hi,
I'm gonna let Sugar Venom take my place for a second.
Okay.
Because I think if I go back and get 3 monitors, I can increase my velocity here to get these update notes out to everybody.
Dude, do it.
All right, so
You're gonna surf Reddit like
I'm gonna
twice
do
as
that,
fast.
But for the people who are
3
saying
times as fast.
with the Crit Queen Jewel, I just want to say if you do an all melee comp, you're going to be more susceptible to this. If you clump all together, you're going to be more susceptible to getting
Of
hit
course.
with 1 Thunderstrike, right? Like
Yep.
there's still a lot of factors.
There's
if you don't build a
mitigating
metal
factors all
jacket,
over
you're
the
going to
place.
feel the pain if you're not properly counter building. So it's already, I think, actually Jewel is wasn't out of control by
Yeah.
any stretch.
I completely agree. I actually think she was pretty much in line. This is just going to make her more consistent across
All right,
the
I'll
board.
see
I
you
think that's
back
the
in a
key. It
bit.
makes it
We're
more consistent.
introducing the one and only Sugar
Venom.
Venom. We just released
Wait for
more
it, wait for
Fortress
it.
lore today, so we can also maybe should be so kind as to talk about that a little bit as well.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Do you want to
Goodbye,
talk about
Playoff Beard.
Warfare, or should we hop into one of these Fortress games?
Yeah, get into the game.
We should
All
play
right,
a game.
let's play
I'm
a
sure
game.
nobody wants to look
Boom.
at us.
The real
They're still
problem is
looking
that
at
if
us.
I'm following these
Stop looking at
almost
us.
5,000 people chatting, I
Yeah.
cannot listen to you guys.
Yeah.
So sometimes I ask you, I'm like, so can you talk about that thing you talked about 30 seconds ago? Just hit me.
That is totally okay. I don't mind at all.
Okay.
All right. So
Do
here
it,
we
yeah.
have Evil Andre playing yet another Fortress, and there is a Saw on his team.
There is
So
a
this
saw.
is the Saw Box Fortress team comp,
Yes.
which I think is going to be quite good.
I think it's quite good. I really enjoy Saw. It's funny. I know a lot of players, they feel that Saw had dropped out of the meta. And in fairness, yes, he gets ridiculously punished for a lot of the amounts of stuns that we've seen in recent kits that have been designed. The Celeste stuns and well, not so much Fortress, but other stuns. They've walked out of my mind right now. But that doesn't help when he's in a situation where he has to pull off suppressing fire. And so for a lot of players, they felt that Saw wasn't particularly capable. But we've been having a lot of wicked fun playing Saw internally here within this last patch release cycle, and I'm really curious to see how players feel about him as the meta has changed slightly.
Most definitely.
Yeah, and again, the changes that I'm thinking of are, there's a lot more safety in jungling than there was before. The Saw's changes on his ultimate, like there's a couple of corrections here that I think may make Saw much more interesting for players, and he synergizes really well with Fortress.
Yeah, definitely. So one thing I really like about Fortress is, he kind of leads the way for Saw.
Yes.
Make sure that Saw doesn't get cut out. Make sure you use your tactical attacks to get vision for Saw.
Yep.
So he knows when he get Saw spun up with suppressing fire or just on minions.
Yeah.
And he knows okay, now it's save time for me to farm, save time for me to walk into a fight, and you have that extra move speed walking into those fights.
Yep. And that's really the thing. Like that rally, it helps. You think it wouldn't, but it would. It's those small touches that really help Saw, who often has to balance his mobility trade-offs anyway. It helps him not have to feel that nearly as palpably. And so it really does feel good when you are playing as a Saw with a Fortress, because you get those small little movement speed bursts from Fortress marking things as prey, and it's just awesome.
All right, sound was too
Can you-
loud.
oh,
I got
Sound
it.
was too loud. Am I too loud?
You're ahead of
No,
me.
my game sound was too loud.
Oh, okay.
So you have to repeat everything you just said the last 10 minutes.
Sweet. Well, I will say this. I think that we're seeing this example with Andre and Cake jungling together as Saw and Fortress, and quite entertainingly so. You're seeing this the kind of not the counterplay, the tandem play that I was talking about earlier, where Fortress is marking things as prey and starting things off because he's clearly iron guarding, and Saw is just absolutely cleaning up from there. And Saw doesn't need to move nearly as far, but if he does need to move, Fortress is marking things as prey anyway, so it gives him that small nudge of movement speed, and it just helps make everything feel a little bit more buttery smooth for Saw.
I love watching Fortress just leap out.
Yeah, it
he's
is.
like, it's
so good.
Funny.
It's so freaking good.
I also love his recon animation. He like kind of
Oh
turns around
yeah,
in a
he turns
circle.
around in a circle and he goes to sleep.
I think there's some talk about
Yeah.
him having an idle animation where
Yeah, we were gonna do that. We
Thing.
had a
that
couple of
dog
ideas.
thing.
Yeah, doing a little dog thing, a little dog disrespect thing, like what dogs might do with fire hydrants. But we didn't put that in the game. So don't spend your time trying to see if it's an Easter egg. We didn't put that in there. It was fun.
Indeed.
Yep. So yeah, let's see. I'm curious to see whether or not Andre's build with this Fortress is going to be a little bit different than what we were seeing in the last match, where he was playing him more of the scout, heavy
He has a reflex
cooldown,
block.
yada yada. Yeah, and he's starting off reflex block after the Iron Guard, which I think is interesting. What do you think?
I'm not actually sure why he built one, because there's no real stun on the enemy team other than Adagio.
Yeah.
And Fortress is generally fast enough to get out of that, so
That's
it's
true.
a little bit questionable in my opinion, but maybe he has some grand plan for it.
So I'm curious whether or not it's because the enemies have a Taka. But no, you're right. For the Adagio, it doesn't seem like it would be that useful. But Taka, who's very reliant on burst because he just doesn't have a lot of staying power in a fight. Look at that synergy right there.
Ooh.
Oh, so good.
Cake.
Oh,
That
so
was
close, and that was way off.
Probably
But so
lag.
yeah.
Don't mind it.
And are they gonna get it? Nope. Fortress is not quite able to
Oh,
pull it
it's
off,
so
but
close,
so
though.
close.
They're so close.
So close.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. It looked like that was going to be them claiming the day. But I was assuming it was because of that Taka that Fortress was going to have. Oh yeah.
Taka made huge life.
Yeah,
poor life decisions.
yeah, poor life choices
Poor
on
life
Taka's
decisions
part.
right there.
Yeah. And did Fortress mark him?
I think he did.
I think he did mark him and so forth. Taka was going to have a struggle getting away anyway, because all three of them were there.
Yep, and this is the power of Saw.
Yes.
Like, the tower pushing potential is phenomenal on him.
Yep.
Whoa, playoff here, turning it around.
Oh my goodness!
Like that kill.
Like a pro.
I'm pretty sure he had that kill.
I feel like he could have done it, but he thought that he could get away with his life. I think that was his mistake. He wasn't willing to trade his life for the kill, and he ended up just giving it up anyway.
Yeah, I definitely should have gone for the finish.
I think so.
I think he had it.
He could have finished off that Saw.
Disappointing.
What Keika's surprise birthday is on Saw?
I think so.
Yeah.
Might be someone else on his account. I'm not actually sure.
That's also
I'll
true.
assume
Good
it's
point.
Kai's birthday.
We'll assume it is.
Unless proven otherwise.
Right. Unless, yeah, if he does some questionable plays, then,
we'll just
then
pretend it
wasn't somebody else. Yeah.
We'll say it was me if he does
Yeah,
questionable plays.
that's totally fine. That works.
All right, so medium mines are up, and yeah, like we like taking medium mines early now because having that pushing power, especially with the first tower already down, it's gonna be pretty good for the blue team.
Yeah, you can definitely feel it, and with especially as you were mentioning with the tower down, like it helps really give them lane dominance. Much more than I think players would expect from 1.4, because in 1.5 again the changes in the lane and how quickly the lane minions adopt the power from a minion mine and how much more threatening they are for it. I think it's a big deal. Yeah, so at this point, like we're moving around to coming up close to 7 minutes into the match. So we're getting pretty healthy into the mid game. Let's see what Fortress has been purchasing. So he's going pretty strong support.
Okay, the Crucible. That's a pretty good idea actually. So there we go. The reflex block, using the Crucible to counter the Adagio. I didn't expect him to get so early actually. Yeah. I would have expected like a maybe a Shiver Steel. I actually really like Shiver Steel on Fortress.
Yeah, it's so
you
good.
to a target and just slow him for a day.
Yeah.
Especially with the additional prey mark on your enemy. Your eyes are running fast toward them. They're slow. They're just having a bad day.
Yep. And if you can manage to hemorrhage off of the bleeding, then they slow again. Yeah, it's super good.
So one other option on Fortress is you could go at Crystal build.
Yeah.
And if you do go Crystal, your A actually has your first ability actually has a pretty strong crystal ratio. I believe it's 110%. So adding quite a bit of damage. Your B has a 70%. Your tackle attack, not really any crystal ratio, but the bleeding on it.
Yes.
The bleeding, the explosion at 5 stacks of bleeding actually does percentage health damage based on how much crystal you have, and it does a base of, I believe, if you max it out, it does like 20%.
Yeah.
But per 100 crystal, it's another 5%. So it's like a super awesome aftershock.
Yeah, it is, and worth trying out. You'll have to play Fortress a little bit more hit and run if you do that, because you're not going to have the durability to really be able to stick in the middle of a team fight and go toe to toe. But it's more than worth it in that you will do some shock and awe. You will surprise people and deal significantly more damage than they might expect. In this case, it was sad. I don't even think I saw Andre pull off the Crucible. He had that moment, but Koshka locked him down with that ultimate. That I think sealed his fate.
Most likely, yep.
Yeah, most likely.
It's still off cooldown, so.
Yeah, it's still off cooldown, so yeah, it looks like he didn't actually end up
here
doing
comes Pac.
Nice.
Let's see.
Pac chasing that Taka.
Let's see, we'll get pivot in. There's
biting the crap out of Taka.
He's bleeding. He's bleeding. I don't think he can get this.
Yeah, I don't think he can, but it's interesting because with 2 wolves after him, I guess it was smarter for Taka to just run.
Yeah.
That was probably the savvy
thing. So one
thing
thing about the Crystal build Fortress is it kind of forces your opponents to play a bit differently because they really do not want to get the bleeding mark on them.
Yes.
So what you have to do is, as an opponent, if you see the enemy Fortress going Crystal, you just have to kill the wolves first. Every time you see the wolves come out, just kill them.
Yes.
Because if they hit you and your opponents start hitting you, you take so much damage.
You really do. You really do. I don't think that this was mentioned when we were talking about Fortress before, but the bleeding stacks based off of basic attacks of Fortress or any allied hero to Fortress.
Or minions.
Or minions. So one thing to note is that to get that bleeding to explode at 5 stacks, it doesn't need to just be Fortress biting them to make or clawing them to make the stack count grow. The stack count on the bleeding will grow if any allied hero or allied minions or fortress attacks that person that's suffering from the bleeding.
So this actually synergizes kind of well with Petal.
Yeah.
The money's just going boom, and someone's instantly
And then
explodes.
exactly. I think that's gonna be freaking awesome though.
It'll be hilarious.
It'll be hilarious. Just like boom, hemorrhage. No fun.
Saw's having a good day.
Yeah, Saw
Walking
is
a little
having a
bit
good day.
faster, not too much, but
Not
you
too
know,
much.
just enough to make him a bit
Yeah,
happier.
just a little bit.
It is enough. It
Yep.
really is. Like that slight boost makes all the difference between being able to be in a fight and just doing no damage.
Yep. Now, one thing interesting is that some natural counters to Fortress. So, for example, Vox is a natural counter to Fortress, in so much that, like, you know, Vox punishes heroes that clump up, and Fortress has a natural tendency to clump up because his perk requires him to be standing near an allied hero.
Yep.
So you'll notice that Voxes may have an easier time when Fortresses are in the games because, you know, the wait for it is just, you know, born and bred to reverse what Fortress does well. Other things worth noting, the Jewel, who also tends to punish players that clump up, both with her Thunder Strike as well as her ultimate, she will have an easier time when there's a lot of Fortresses in the game. Is he going to reflex it? He did!
He was late.
He was a little late. A little
But
bit late.
Saw-
And he's right in the heart of it, and he
There's
still
the Saw.
died. But Saw is
There's the
going to
Saw.
kill everyone in the world now.
Saw is doing Saw things.
He's doing Saw things. That is correct.
He is definitely doing Saw things.
Yep.
Saw is going to die.
Oh no, he's gonna die.
Saw cannot do Saw
Yeah,
things.
he mistimed that, I think.
Yes.
Does Saw have any lifesteal?
He does. He has a
He
Serpent's
did, okay.
Mask.
He's got a Serpent's
But that's
Mask.
his only source of damage.
Right.
He doesn't have a Star of Light. He only has a Serpent's Mask.
Okay,
So not going to
yeah.
be doing too much quite yet. But once Saw gets going, he is still pretty terrifying.
Yeah, he is. He's pretty terrifying.
Though Scarf is really good against him. Not in this game, but I've been playing a good amount of Saw, and every time there's a Scarf, you get spun up and you can't really catch him.
Yeah, that's true.
He's kind of throwing Spitfires at you.
So earlier though, you were saying that, you know, Saw was a really good counter to Scarf, or maybe it was Playoff that was talking
Early
about
game.
it. Yeah, early game, I would definitely agree.
Yeah.
I would
Early
definitely
game,
agree.
Scarf is hard countered by Saw. But
Yeah.
late game,
Yeah,
the tables
the
get
tables
flipped.
turned. Yeah.
It's actually really interesting to see. I would actually like to see a Crystal Saw work against the Scarf though, because
That
that
would be
Rhodey run
awesome.
damage,
Yep.
boom, one shot.
Yep, one shot. Yeah, Dead Dragon.
Oh man, speaking of that Rhodey run,
Yep.
did some minor buffs to that.
Yeah, we did. We did do some small buffs to it.
Just a little bit.
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So people are going to be getting minion mines now.
Yeah.
Yes,
I would
Already
hope
talked
so.
about that, right?
I
Yes.
highly recommend it.
I highly recommend it as well. They will help significantly alter
I feel
and
like
shift
Andre
the
spends
fight.
most of the time dead.
Yeah, he does. He does. I wonder if this was before we boosted his Fortress's durability though.
That is very possible.
Yeah, I don't remember when these were recorded.
Oh,
Up.
Oh.
What's gonna
Up.
happen? Is he
Up.
gonna make
Up.
it?
Up.
Up.
oh.
Oh
This was a
dear
huge-
no.
Oh!
Oh, the
Reflex
clutch reflex block. So good.
Good shot.
Yeah,
good
that was
shot.
probably me playing on Cake's account.
There you go.
Yeah, that's. I'm just gonna go ahead and just
That was me.
sneak
That was
in.
all
Yeah, that's
me.
totally me. That was me. I remember that time.
Very nice.
Yeah, I totally did that. Yeah, so yeah, now you see Fortress when he's on his own, and you can notice that, like, you know, while he's hunting and stalking and so forth, he doesn't have the same level of vibrance and happiness. But oh, the wolves are out tracking the Taka, and that yeah
that wolf's having a time.
yeah that was bad for Taka.
Yes.
Bad for Taka.
That was entertaining.
Yep. For people that are asking where the patch notes are, we are still working on them. Playoff Beard is typing them right now. I think he went back to his desk to do that. That's why you guys are unfortunately stuck with me. But they will be up very soon.
This is true.
And the buff minions are still worth more golden experience.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nominal
That
amount.
hasn't changed.
I mean, it's you're not going to get fat and rich off of the buffed minions, but you will get more money.
So basically, you better clear a whole heck of a lot of buff minions
Yeah.
before your tower drops, or it'll
Yeah.
not be worth it.
Absolutely. Exactly.
Takas are still freaking out about whether or not you're going to be... I don't know. We're going to have to talk about
So
it.
these wolves will follow Taka.
Yes.
But they will not hit him, so they will not reveal.
Reveal Taka if he's in a box.
What about that blood?
The blood, if Taka...
Only if he gets hit.
Yeah, if Taka was bitten
Just
before
don't
he
get
went
hit,
into the
guys.
box, then he will be bleeding. And if he boxes after he starts bleeding, he will continue to bleed, but the particle effect for the bleeding will not be shown will not be visible to other people, just like any other effect that's on Taka when he's in his box. A wolf that has been unleashed from Fortress's pack will follow and track down a Taka that is in the box, but he will not bite the Taka until the Taka is out of the box.
Saw things!
Oh!
Saw things!
That's Saw! Oh man.
Saw is doing Saw things.
Yeah, he's doing Saw things. He's back to just murdering fools. It's hilarious.
So that's what happens when you pick double melee versus
That's right.
Saw.
That's what happens.
Jumping in against a Saw, gonna hurt.
Yeah, man.
Going to hurt.
Yeah.
I did say Taka. Gosh, people
Wait,
are,
what's the question?
There's just so many people in here right now. Hi,
Yeah.
everybody.
Hello, everybody.
I'm sorry my eyes don't go this fast. And I can't listen to these guys at all. So they're like, they're just really excited about Fortress. They're super excited about what all his abilities do and how to build it right away so that they can completely own everything today.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And so that's what people are just asking about Weapon versus Crystal again and what else abilities do.
Yeah.
I know you're gonna have to repeat yourselves.
No, that's okay.
So in short, Weapon, not very good on Fortress.
No.
Maybe viable if you get Breaking Point. I mean, if you go tank and Breaking Point.
Yeah,
maybe.
There could be something interesting.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we've done, and it's not the greatest, but it sort of works if you get
it's
late game
alright.
enough and tanky enough. Crystal, pretty viable, but
Yes.
farming on Fortress is a nightmare. Like, if you can manage to get enough gold to go a full Crystal build, go for it.
Right.
Like, you deserve it. But I think the general build will be most likely just utility, supporty, just helping your team out. Get that Frostburn, get Crucible, get like a Warhorn.
Yep.
Just make your team move faster, make sure they can have good vision around the map. Get Contraption. That
Get
thing is
Contraption,
awesome.
get Fountain. Like there's so many different ways. Yeah, and that Warhorn too. Like he can control mobility for his teammate so easily that it really helps, especially when he synergizes with heroes that suffer from mobility trade-offs like Saw.
Here we go. The extra move speed buff.
Yep.
He just runs down that
Yep.
Dodgeo. Oh
There you
man.
go.
Yep,
Answer the
there's
question.
the answer to the question. There's Taka.
Right there.
So
Boom.
this game, the Wolves might have been attacking Taka because I think that this might have been.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we didn't make that change until later in the build. So have no fear. Even if you saw that he was getting bitten, we have confirmed that on live, Taka does not get bitten.
Yes.
When Fortress Wolves are hunting him,
Correct.
and he's boxed.
So someone's asking about his contraption. New item.
Ooh, new item. If you're just now joining the stream, we have two new items that will be coming out in patches 1.5. One of them is called Minion Foot. The other is called Contraption. Minion Foot is a starting item for crit.
Yep. So you don't
And-
build out like a random.
And it's
like,
awesome.
And it's awesome.
Best
Hi.
item ever.
Best
Everybody,
item ever, confirmed.
welcome.
Totally
And the
OP.
Shred has
Totally OP.
joined us on the stream.
Yeah. Meanwhile, piece of news for you guys.
Yeah.
News for you guys.
Okay.
We are coming off maintenance mode inside of the next 3 to 4 minutes.
Woo!
So
So this is awesome.
Exciting.
So people that are watching, you will be able to not have to hear us ramble and actually get your hands on Fortress
Yes.
for your very
Very
own,
soon, very
very soon. Just hold tight for a couple more minutes. Thank
Yeah.
you for that update.
hopefully,
All right.
A couple more seconds.
All right.
we
We're
should
gonna
confirm it when we're live.
Okay.
We will stick
confirm
here
it
until the servers are up.
until the servers are up.
So-
It's going to be amazing.
Yep.
Nothing can go wrong.
This is
Oh,
true.
Lord.
Nothing.
Nothing,
At all.
nothing
Ever.
possible has ever gone wrong. It'll be great.
Nothing ever goes wrong here.
Ever.
All
Never had it.
We have
had
the
it once.
standard Bush face-off. And
Yep.
there you go, Fortress doing his thing.
Yep.
Summon that attack, figuring out where the enemies are.
Yep.
Lets his team engage pretty well. However, the dodge roll ultimate
Yeah, it did
kind
help.
of destroyed them.
Yeah, it did actually do a little bit of the damage to him. Fortress ended up getting dropped. Shock and awe.
So that was potentially a point team fight by the blue side.
Yeah.
They had the upper hand. They were able to catch out the red team before the red team knew where they were.
So talk me through it. What do you think they did wrong?
Adagio basically got a fully challenged. He has not too much crystal power. He has the alternate current. He has like some other stuff. He has boots. He has contraption.
Yeah.
He's going mostly support.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he got stuns off onto the saw.
Yes.
And immediately as the fight started, Kashka and Taka jumped on two carries, and they just dropped.
Yes. I think that really was a change holder. Like, because Saw had suppressing fire out, but he immediately had to rotate run afterwards and give up the spin up stacks because he immediately got focused. At the same time, Adagio was channeling up, and he managed. Like, I don't know why they didn't Crucible slightly earlier, but he did get some stuns in there, and that was more. Those two details right there were enough to just change the tide of that team fight.
Yep, power this Kraken. I don't think he's thinking too much. He is probably gonna die for his turret drop.
Yeah, he is.
Like, you have a saw hitting it, you have a box hitting it, you got
Yep.
the Fortress kind of gnawing at it.
Yeah,
not
gnawing
really
at his
too
ankles.
much.
Yep. Rabble.
But yeah, it looks like this turret is not going Oh, Taka's going in.
Yep.
Okay, her went down.
And now
but at
Taka,
what
yes,
cost?
and then that rally from Fortress, and there was no way.
And this is
And
done
yeah,
for.
the Dodge
The slow
Fortress
comes
too.
in with
Yep.
this stack of bleeding. He is
Yeah.
not having a good time.
Not gonna happen.
I love the way the fools like dive into the ground.
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah, I do too.
It's kind of
It's
nice.
kind of cool. It's kind of nice.
Well, that is like someone says that we should have an info ribbon down the bottom that explains
Oh.
all of this stuff.
Yeah, like a
Get
ticker.
on it, Second.
Like a ticker.
I could.
We just call him whatever we want.
I could do that.
Do you
Hey,
say
you.
your name is Zekint or Zekint?
I use Zekins. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'll do from now on.
Awesome. I'm good with that way, to be honest.
Either
I
way,
respond to
you
both.
don't- yeah,
it
you
doesn't
don't
really
mind.
make a difference.
Yeah. Where'd your name come from?
I wanted a Z in my name. This is like in junior high or something. I was like, Z's are cool. I'm gonna put a Z in my name,
Nice.
and then I don't know what else, but
Yeah.
that sounds cool.
Junior High George was not wrong. It's a cool name.
Oh, where'd your name come from?
Oh, Captain Nito?
Yeah.
He's very neat,
It's true.
and he's a captain.
Well,
I wanted to have a name. This was like years back. I actually had this as my Xbox Live account name for the longest time, because I was looking for a name that was kind of joyful. I felt like, all the I had in the past like had the try hard names of just like, I'm Captain War Killer, and you just I was kind of done with that whole thing, and I had this mental picture of like if I were to buy a box of Lucky Charms, but had a different cartoon character on the front of a cereal box, like what would be kind of cool, and be like Captain Nito, like it made me grin, and I just threw it in, and then it just stuck.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's where Captain Nito came from.
Yeah, you saw right there. Fortress just summoning his pack, figuring out where the enemies are.
See where the enemies are.
Having that map control is actually really important at times. You might not do the most damage, but the utility he offers to the team is something else.
Yeah, it is. So he's got a little cooldown because he's got an aftershock in there. And is that a clockwork? Yeah, he's got a clockwork. Okay, so he's
his
once
build.
again, yeah, he's running some cooldown, and you notice that he's sending out those wolves just to constantly harass and scout, figure out where people are, force people to have to fight, use their abilities, harass them up, get them a little less battle ready, and then see what happens.
Mm-hmm. However, just a little bit of warning: if you are spamming your wolves, they do give your enemies gold when they get killed.
Yes, they do.
So right
50
now,
gold.
Yeah, they give 50 gold each wolf.
Each
so
wolf.
Each time you summon your wolf, be careful.
Yeah.
Like 150 gold to the enemy team. That's
It
not
adds up.
Yeah, it does add up.
It does add up.
I mean, it's basically trading like, okay, you draw out a couple of players. Same.
Nice, much better timing on the Crucible right there for the Adagio Ultimate. This is going to keep the team fight in their favor. That's what they screwed up with last time. This was well played.
Much better.
Much better.
And right now, you have to see his saw. He's got his Tyrant's Michael. He's got a Serpent's Mask and a... what is that?
A Serpent's
boots.
Mask, a Tyrant, some boots,
Yeah.
Shiver Steel,
Aegis.
and
Interesting build. The
Yeah.
Shiver Steel. I actually kind of like that on
Yeah.
Saw. Because he attacks really fast, and these guys are melee, so if they're trying to run away, they're just
they're just gonna
permanently
It gives them
pretty
that
cool.
kite. Yeah, that's not bad at all.
are people supposed to be seeing two things in the App Store for Vainglory still? Or
slow. There should totally be one.
There should be one thing in the App Store. Actually,
might
let me
be just
confirm
a
with
weird
that.
buggy thing right
It
now.
may be a weird buggy thing. We
Okay.
will be down the road. We will be dropping the one of the builds for the iPhone from the App Store, but I haven't confirmed with Tommy, with the real Kroll, whether or not that drop has happened for 1.5. So tell him to stay tuned, please. We will answer that question once we know confidently what the answer is.
guys,
Yep.
whenever this happens, as soon as the servers go up, there's always like a few minutes of weirdness.
Yeah, there's always
So
some
be
awkwardness.
patient.
Give it a second.
Give us a little bit of
while.
time.
Yeah, and it'll all
a
turn
lot
out
of
okay.
people at once are trying to download it, I think, and things go wonky just
Yep.
for a little while, not
Yep.
forever.
Little.
Be patient.
Alrighty, so right here, we have the double weapon builds coming out from the blue side. I actually
Yeah.
kind of like this. The bone saw and box
Yep.
is actually really good.
Yeah.
You want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, so and people that are watching, we're talking about Vox on team left or on the blue team, and he's got weapon going, which I personally prefer weapon Vox to Crystal Vox, just because I feel like it makes his dueling so much more. It feels right,
Yeah.
I guess, when it comes to the dueling. He duels really well with Crystal, but I feel like he duels well in Crystal because he's broken. But in this case, this Vox, you have not a whole lot of damage that's coming out from the Saw. The Saw has Serpent Mask and Tyrant's Monocle, but he doesn't have like a core Sorrow Blade in the heart of the kit. So, he's going to be susceptible. It is a really interesting saw build. He's going to be a little bit susceptible to people building armor against him. But this Vox in this case is actually going to be supporting him, not just himself because he's got his own Sorrow Blade. He's going to be supporting his saw by having that bone saw in there, and it's going to give him the attack speed too. I don't know. I feel like that's probably a smart thing to do when you know you're going at least double red.
Yeah.
To throw in those utility support elements of the red in there so that you and your friend are more effective. But yeah, I would have also thought that maybe Fortress might have capitalized on a bone saw. I think that's the only part that is kind of curious. I mean, he seems the most natural candidate. Attack speed synergizes so well with making the blood proc. And he'd want to be a little bit more efficient and useful for his teammates by reducing armor. He knows he has a Saw on his team who's going to be likely running red. So
we haven't playoff here.
Just want to give you a quick update. So the update is propagating out. If anyone manages to get into the app or into the game, it's probably not going to work right because it's not all done yet. So stay on the air, and I'll run back over when we think we're actually done and people can actually, install and play proper games and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Vainglory, coming to a Vainglory near you.
Yes,
People
coming
are
very
seeing
soon.
weird bars and numbers next to their names on the profiles and stuff.
Weird bars and numbers next to their names on the profile
people-
stuff?
I haven't looked at it yet.
Is
They
this
said,
in
"What's the number
1.5?
next-" Yeah, and they're like, what's
Okay.
the number next to our profile, and what's the bar over my name? Do you know what
Okay,
they're
so the
talking
number
about?
next to their profile is your account level.
Yes.
So in 1.5, we are introducing account leveling for the first time. And it's going to be banana. That was a really good face, by the way.
I do that all the time.
That was a really good face. It's going to be awesome. There's going to be a lot that we want to talk about that, especially down the road. But if you see a number next to your name, that is the level of your account. And as you play games, you will gain XP, and your account level will grow. Now, early on, for new coming players, you guys that are watching the stream probably won't have this happen because you guys already have your own accounts. But for incoming players that start at level 1, we will be locking the public play option for them until they have leveled up their account sufficiently to be able to play with other players. And that will require them to go through the tutorial and get a bunch of different rewards. It's actually going to be quite fun and entertaining, but at the end of the day, before they're going to be playing with players, we want to make sure that they're going to have a good time, and more importantly, they're going to understand how to play the game well.
Yep. All right, so now that we're back onto the big camera,
Yeah.
you want to talk a little bit more about these balance changes as I go in?
Sure. Yeah, let's jump in.
All right, real quick, we already went over the solid ones pretty much.
Yep.
Rody runs crystal ratio up from 230 to 280.
Yeah.
Pretty nice, 50% bonus.
Yeah.
We want that crystal game to be a bit different than the weapon game.
Yeah, it does, and it also helps them for the saws that are going to run crystal. It encourages that playstyle because we know that there are a lot more hard stuns in the game, especially on non-ultimate abilities that really force Saw to suffer when he's doing things like suppressing fire. So this does mean that you're not losing so much damage, especially if you're running crystal. If you have to give up those suppressing fire, spin up stacks, and end up doing a roadie run and try and shank stab somebody in the face, you're still going to be viable.
Most definitely. So. And also Mad Cannon. Each shot is considered to be fall attack again. So basically, you can crit, you do your basic attack damage.
You can proc.
You aren't losing damage if you use it as a weapon saw.
Yes, that's the key.
A little bit sad.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not going to lose damage.
The crystal damage, this is actually pretty big. Down from 150 to 300 to 40 to 80.
Yes.
So that might sound like a huge change.
Yes.
But keep in mind, it's a basic attack. It can crit. And the crystal ratio is going up from 60 to 140.
Yes, so one of the things we wanted to avoid with Saul's ultimate is we didn't want it to be an I can win button, just a damage steroid that you use right at the end of a fight if it turns out that your basic attacks that you're all spun up are not going to go your way. We wanted to make sure that the crystal portion of it, the base damage of the crystal that he gets by just locking in for Mad Cannon, isn't going to be overwhelmingly insurmountable when you have a weapon saw. If you are playing a weapon saw, it's still going to be a basic attack, and there's going to be a small nudge in your damage. You're going to starting at 40 and growing to 80. You're going to get a small boost of crystal damage mixed in with your weapon damage that you're going to be dealing.
Right.
But you're not going to be able to just use it as an I can win button, and deliberately so. But because the crystal ratio has increased significantly for that ultimate, it does mean that crystal saws are really going to be able to fire out some extra powerful rockets, and yeah, that's going to be bananas. It's going to be amazing for them.
Mm-hmm. And only a small thing for Celeste.
Yeah.
So, as we said earlier, we're putting a premium on Wave Clear.
Yes.
So, Heliogenesis will do only 25% of her crystal ratio in damage to minions now instead of 50. So, not exactly having her damage because it still counts the base.
The base damage will stay the same.
Yeah, the base damage is still the same, but the crystal ratio is down a bit. So, the Wave Clear is really, really going to be important in this next patch.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge fan of secret or specialty rules behind heroes and so forth. But that said, we really are moving the meta of Vainglory a little bit further back from pure jungle dominance or pure early team invade, pure three-man jungle kind of strategies. We want those to remain viable, but we want to be able to incentivize players to be able to do other things.
Yes.
And part of this is paying attention to the lane and making sure that what you are doing in the lane is tactically savvy and tactically sound, that you're not simply giving up the lane because you feel that you can collect the same amount of gold by collecting kills and robbing jungle camps from the enemy team. So in this case, yeah, Celeste, we felt like the change on the crystal ratio for the minions for Celeste was warranted purely because we are overall, for all heroes, making it a premium on our wave clear.
Right. However, keep us in mind, she's still really
good at it. Like, don't worry, you're not going to be like, no, what's happening? You're going to just be wiping minions off the map just like you always have been.
I've been playing a ton of Celeste in these internal playtests.
It's just as awesome.
Her wave clear is still really good compared to almost everything else.
Yeah,
and the last thing we're doing a little bit tuning on is Kashka. So armor down from 42 to 86 to 20 to 86. So basically keeping her more in line with everything else. She had a lot of extra armor at the beginning of the game, which was not really necessary on her.
Right. This is to keep her more stationed in the assassin camp a little bit more firmly. Notice that we didn't necessarily, and we're about to talk about her catnip attacks, we didn't necessarily drop any of the damage from her catnip attacks early on, which is really her strongest source of power in early games. So when you see the Koshkas that are running around or doing early jungle invades, usually if they've collected up a couple of catnip attacks by spinning on something at some point, then they're going to be hitting like a Mack truck. And we wanted her to have that assassin-style presence, maybe try to grab a couple of kills, but we wanted to make her have to work for it. And so while her armor will regain its former glory as she goes up in levels, as the armor was in 1.4, in 1.5 it starts lower than it did in 1.4. It starts at 20 armor at the start of the game rather than 40 armor at the start of the game, and that makes her a little bit more risk adverse. And not so overwhelmingly dominant and capable of going the tank route. Yep.
And so that's pretty much it for like the hero stuff.
Yeah.
However, there's some other juicy stuff in here.
There's a lot of juicy stuff in here.
So you want to talk about that broken myth? I know Skipper's been waiting for this.
You look tired. This is a big update.
Oh, it is a big update, and we have more to do.
It always seems to be a big update, though.
I know.
Everything's a big update.
Everything's a big update. Wait, we don't do things small around her.
No.
All right, let's jump in. Broken myth.
Okay, broken myth. Heavy prism add to the recipe.
Yes.
Instead of nothing.
Right.
So the price has been changed from 2,050 to 3,100, and it's now, instead of getting 20 crystal, it gives 70 crystal. But this is the main thing.
And this is the biggie.
Each stack amplifies all crystal damage by 10%. So this is a really good like 4th or 5th item.
Yes.
If you're going heavy crystal.
Yes.
And instead, like, you basically get like amplified crystal damage instead of getting the 5% shield piercing.
Yes.
As we said earlier, not a huge fan of shield piercing. It's like,
Yeah, so the problem with piercing is that it's one of those things that just doesn't offer a whole lot of counterplay.
Right.
And, it tactically removes an element of play from the game, because once you get there, you've kind of approached true damage. Mm-hmm. And so I think that this is a better choice overall for the item. So keep in mind now, it no longer grants shield pierce to you. Mm-hmm. But it does amplify crystal damage, which is really big. And you can use that for some amazing moments. And it is quite savvy. Also, the max number of stacks of Broken Myth has been dropped from 5 to 3.
Yep, so it won't be like plus 50% damage.
Right.
That'd be bonkers.
Right, that would be bananas.
It's plus 30%,
It's
which
up
is
30%.
still pretty good.
It's still pretty good.
That's quite solid.
It is. Quite savvy.
On top of that, more item changes. Scout Trap, this is like the most minor change in the world, but it's actually a pretty big difference if you actually play it out. Explosion delay up from 1.2 seconds to the very, very large.
It's huge.
1.3.
1.3.
Huge.
Boom.
So
like a boss.
The thing here is, this basically gives you enough time to
avoid them.
Maybe walk out of them.
Right.
If you react fast enough as you walk into a scout trap, you might be able to get out of it if you weren't able to before.
Yeah, it's and it really mostly it will help the early game because again, like scout traps are after you've gotten tier 1 boots or after you've gotten tier 2 boots, really scout traps are quite avoidable towards mid to late game. But the early game swings because of a scout trap that was savvily placed in the heart of a battle and blew up on everybody. We wanted to reduce that. We wanted to give it a little bit more counterplay.
Right.
So that's where that change comes from.
Yep. So not really a huge thing, but just might make the other game a little bit better.
a little bit more gentle.
All right. And boots. Boots. These are fun.
Yeah, they are.
So we noticed that, tier 1 boots basically rolled.
Yep.
Because the tier 2 and 3 were kind of like,
They're
they were good, but not really worth the gold.
Yep.
So what we did was, your basic boots, your first tier boots, they're down from 0.5 extra move speed to 0.4.
Yep.
Doesn't sound big.
Doesn't sound big.
But on top of that, the travel boots, the tier 2 boots, their cooldown has been reduced from 110 to 90. So 20-second drop.
Yep.
And it gives you plus 0.45 move speed. So boots aren't just equivalent all around now.
Right.
However, the health has gone up from 150 to 200.
Yeah.
So definitely a good defensive item on top of giving you the move speed.
Yeah, it's and you'll notice that the range across the boots as we keep talking has been changed, but that graduation it's prominent. You feel it, and especially because consider the fact that this is a 0.45 move speed at base, but it also still has its travel component where when you're out of combat, it increases you even further still. So it is a noticeable upgrade when you jump from tier 1 to tier 2.
Yep, and journey boots cooldown down from 70 to 50. So this is actually quite sizable. It's also a 20-second change, but like 70 to 50 is huge.
It really is.
Like in actual practice, that is a big difference.
Yeah.
And the move speed 0.5, so having the same speed as the old tier 1 boots.
Yep.
In addition to giving 100 extra health, 200 to 300.
Yeah.
So boots definitely worth upgrading now. There are definitely some situations where you just want that extra move speed to catch up to someone or to be able to run away from someone, and boots can make all the difference now. All right. Moving on.
So yeah, and I'm hoping though that my biggest fear with the boots changes, I'm really hoping that it's not going to turn into a situation where we have way too much mobility creep. I mean, we're going to be watching this as after we've rolled this out. A 50-second cooldown on your boots activatable it's pretty low. But so far in all of our testing, I feel like it feels better, and the boots definitely feel like they're worth the money.
Yes. And of course, last thing on just random miscellaneous items, the minion's foot.
Yep.
Gives you a free crit crit onto a hero.
Yeah.
After you buy the item, in addition to giving you 10% crit and 10% crit damage, basically offering you a tier 1 critical strike item as opposed to buying attack speed and losing your attack speed right afterwards, which was kind of sad.
Yeah, which was kind of sucky.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a great small item. It's a great starting out item too because you can get that crit. You can get that crit and just surprise somebody in the first engagement. It's just they didn't quite expect to get plunked on the side of the head quite as hard, and suddenly there's a tilt in your direction, and those small things really do add up.
I will say there are some fun strategies with this item. Like playing Arden, and it's like blood for blood, boom, crit.
Yeah, crit.
Where did that come from? Oh, he has a minion's foot.
You just got a foot. You just got a foot and randomly critted me. Yeah.
And there's definitely a few heroes that can really take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Let's see, what else? Improvements to support items.
Yeah.
Contraption. So what does it do? Gives you some energy recharge, some cooldown acceleration, and when you activate it, you can either place a flare around you, or if you put it on yourself, it's a scout trap. So you can choose to drop a flare or a scout trap, depending on how you use it.
Yep.
And it holds 3 charges maximum, which charge up at 25 seconds per charge.
Right.
In addition to that, it gives you the Stormguard passive, does some damage to minions, and it has a splash radius. Hello.
Yes, to Stormguard.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
So you can take down that message that says servers are down for the update.
So servers are no
servers
longer
are
down for the update.
update.
Yes.
Most of you will be able to download 1.5 now, 1.5 hype.
Excellent.
For some of you, it still might not be there yet, which is expected and normal. It's just kind of getting in the App Store across all of the regions. And again, a lot of people are saying, what? There's 2 apps now on my device. What's going on? What do I do? Again, for anyone who joined us late, we have combined both of the versions of our app, Vainglory and Vainglory for iPhone. We have formed Voltron with them. They are now one app, which is going to be a lot better
The one true Vainglory.
Yeah, it is just super confusing for this one update cycle, and then it will be much better.
Yep.
Then it'll be awesome.
So what you need to know is that if you've been always playing on iPad, you don't have to do anything different. Your experience is going to be the same. But if you play sometimes or all the time on iPhone, you're going to get redirected from Vainglory for iPhone to the Vainglory app, and you're going to download it, and then you'll be like, now I have 2 Vainglories on my device, and when I hit one it works, and when I hit the other it says I need to update. What is this all about? Just the old one, just delete it. So the one that is Vainglory for iPhone, or the one that keeps telling you to update over and over again, delete that one.
Yeah.
And use just the Vainglory app, and that will work. If you are like, I do not understand what he's saying, and this is weird and dumb, just delete your app. Just delete it so you have no more Vainglory, and then install it from the App Store. You'll only find the Vainglory app on the App Store, so install it on the App Store. You might have to log in again, might have to change your settings again, but you won't lose any progress. But your goal is to get to the point where you have one Vainglory app to rule them all, and then in the future this will be much more sensible and simple.
Yes.
But I hope that clears it up, and I hope a lot of you are able to go and start playing Fortress in 1.5. If you joined us late, there is 1 week of early access, ice-only early access for Fortress. So if you want to support the game, if you want to see the game succeed, if you want to see Captain Nito succeed, if you want to see Captain Nito get a nicer apartment and a new car.
I live in a shoebox.
And new shoes.
He actually lives in the office.
I know. I live under my desk.
Get Fortress with ice if you're living off of ramen in your college dorm room and you need to wait a week and use your excess glory. But keep in mind, the glory coming soon, not in this update, but coming soon, you will be able to use your glory to get cards faster, which is going to help you unlock skins. So if you can, if it's within your means, save your glory for cards and go ahead and use ice to get Fortress.
Yeah.
All right, so I hope a lot of people can play. Hang out here maybe until
let's go over the patch notes a little bit more.
Yeah, we're going to go over the patch notes some more.
Did you talk about my girl yet? Did you talk about Kashka?
We talked about all the heroes. We're talking about these items.
All right, well, I got to say, as a Kashka main, I am really excited for this small nerf to Kashka's defense. Because
it makes her more what she was supposed to be.
Yes, she plays. She's much more of an assassin, which is her supposed to be her role. You're much more incentivized to build crystal. You're much more incentivized to get in and out of fights, which is much more synergistic with her kit, and not just be a warrior and tanking damage and hanging out in fights for long periods of time. It feels much more like what was intended, and once you get used to trying out some other things other than Tanksha, I think you're going to find there are a lot more options available. It's going to be a lot more fun and opens up a whole different play style for her. So as a Kashka main, I'm actually very excited about this change, as counterintuitive as that might sound.
Hey, she did get a crystal ratio buff.
That's true.
So there's that.
Yeah, good. Build blue.
Yes, she did. Go blue.
All right, let's go over the rest of these items.
All right.
So we got Warhorn. Which was a pretty big change, actually.
It was.
So we took out the chronograph from the recipe and added a dragon heart. And the stats and prices basically reflect that. So it gives you some health instead of some cooling acceleration and energy regen now. And that's made a lot more sense, considering Warhorn is more of an initiation item.
Yes, it is.
You use Warhorn, you run in, and you're like, I don't have any health. And
right.
That was weird.
Yeah, and I think that was the key. We just wanted to make sure that Warhorn synergized with what Warhorn enabled you to do, which is run into the middle of a fight. Now when you run into the middle of a fight, Warhorn helps you out by giving you passive stats that help you run into the middle of a fight.
And on top of that, Stormguard changed a little bit, buffed up the passive on it. So instead of doing 35 non-hero DPS, goes up to 50.
Yep.
Not huge, but actually helps out jungle
play a lot. It's a much more valuable item when you're playing as a non-primary damage dealing support.
Yes, and one of my favorite changes for this patch. I love playing support. I gotta say I love playing support. And Iron Guard is now, the bonus from jungle minions is up from 30% to 50%. Supports are rich this patch, like holy cow.
Okay, so this is a biggie. This is a big one. And myself and Surprise Birthday talked quite a bit about this. There was a lot of passionate conversation around it. But while we both absolutely love the playstyle of Iron Guard now after its remake, we're looking at the total amount of gold that is available for the Iron Guard roamer, and we decided to bump it. So now instead of 30% of the bounty, you get 50% of the bounty from jungle minions. That's pretty big.
Yep.
It also makes it a little bit easier for you to use it in the jungle more than trying to gank camp the lane, because that boost does not exist for lane minions. You'll still get 30% of the bounty for the lane minions, but 50% for the jungle minion bounty. It means that your roamer on your team is going to be a lot richer. I guess a lot is a bit of an exaggeration. Substantially richer though.
It's
you can feel it. You can feel the change. You go to the store and you can be like, yeah, I can buy stuff. And more importantly, you can buy stuff because you bought Iron Guard.
Yes.
And that's a very big difference, I think. And it also, of course, means that the payout to your ally who lets you tank for them is also slightly bigger as well.
All right. Now let's move on to these meta changes.
Yeah.
So we've talked about the evs, we've talked about the heroes.
Yeah.
Well, this is where everything changes.
Yes.
Everything.
Everything changes.
Okay, so we noticed jungle dominance has been pretty strong. We've seen like in the ESL games, the team that wins the early game jungle generally does really well for the rest of the match. Like they can sometimes just snowball a game completely to victory.
Yep.
And that was a little bit rough, especially since the big little camp was really like the first point of contention, and whichever team won that engagement just wins.
Yep.
Like it was rough. So we basically moved a lot more gold to the back line. The big in the back is now significantly more gold. You might notice if you were watching me just like run around his fortress before, the back two minion camps, after leaving them for like 3 minutes, each one of them paid out like 170, 180. So 360 between the two of them, that's huge.
Yes.
Like that's basically killing, I don't know, like giving yourself like your own personal gold mine.
Yeah, it's a Hail Mary run if you want to try to be that risky. It means that if you are playing against enemy Takas, you're going to have to be much more watchful, because the big that's all the way furthest back or closest to your base wall, that camp is very valuable, and significantly more valuable than the big littles that used to be near the shop right near the 50-yard line of the map. Those have been significantly reduced in their gold viability. So what it also helps incentivize is, again, players will be able to more safely collect gold income from the jungle, because they won't have to get near the point of contention, middle ground of the map as much. And it also means that there's less value, slightly less value for the enemy players to end up taking your store jungle camps, because they'll give money, but they may not be worth the risk. So in both of those incentives, it dramatically changes how players will end up interacting with the map, and we think you guys are going to really, really dig it. It still means, though, that it's viable to do your early 3-man invade and try and take what's theirs. And we totally support that. It's just not the only way of winning a map.
Yep, it'll also be a little bit more risky.
And a lot more risky, yes. You have to go deep in order to get the most value out of it, yeah.
And secondary, minion mines.
Yeah.
Minions are much better against turrets. They will beat down your turrets. Like if you have 2 minion waves, banging on a turret with like a minion mine or 2, it will probably take it down.
Yes. Do not leave your turrets undefended against minion-mined minions is basically my one piece of advice. The minions will do some steady termite chewing through the turret, and you will come back and not have a turret anymore, and then you will be sad.
And on top of that, capturing a mine instantly upgrades existing minions.
Instantly
this is
upgrades
huge.
Minions. That's huge.
So if you manage to build up 2 waves while your opponents like kind of push back into their turret, and you get your teammates to take the minion mine, and you go invade the enemy minion mine, having those like level 3 minions,
it's
can
huge.
Destroy them early game.
Yes. Now here's another thing that you can do, which is kind of pro. If you can manage to pull it off, you can now accomplish a semi-split push when you need to try and recapture gold mine.
Yes.
So often what will happen is one team will hold gold mine, and gold mine is about to pay out. Let's say it's at 75%, and they're holding gold mine, and they know that the other enemy team wants to take it back from them. They want to claim gold mine before it pays out. Now, you can have somebody in the lane, because all 3 may have clumped and are sitting in the brush near a gold mine trying to guard it. You could have your laner deliberately push a wave up to the turrets, and then you guys could grab minion mines. And now they have a decision. They can sit in the brush and they can still guard their gold mine, But the just unattended minions that are now in the lane could do such a significant amount of damage that the enemy team would end up getting a 300 gold payout for a turret takedown anyway, and be more valued than the gold mine that they're trying to guard. So keep in mind that significantly alters the playfield on what tactically may be the right choice to do at any given time.
Yep. All right, so that's enough for the balance changes.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what's new in the app.
All right.
We have co-op versus basic. Very basic.
Very basic.
Bots. So this is a great way for new players to get into the game, or if you just want to beat up some bots, test out these new abilities, try out Fortress, try out some new heroes.
Yep.
Just kind of get a feel for something you haven't played before. Bots are a great way to do this.
Yes, I definitely would encourage, if you're new to the game, try out the bots. It's a very safe environment to learn and to get your feet wet. You can run around, you can buy items, you can win, all the good stuff. Everything is in there. The bots are not brilliant. So if you play against them, you may notice things like, hey, these bots are not brilliant. And that is true, but they are there more to give a safe practice environment for our new players, and I think you'll like it.
Yep. And in addition, on iOS, there's a new setting, so you can optionally toggle this on in your Vainglory settings. You can have larger active items. So what this means is, this is actually a little bit confusing at first when you're using it.
It really is.
You activate this, and your items will actually become significantly larger as long as you have 4 or less.
Yes.
Once it becomes 5 or 6, they start shrinking back down to normal size. But it also makes it so you cannot see your other items in your item tray normally.
Yeah.
So you have to open up your shop to check what you have.
Yeah.
And at first it's like, oh,
it's
shoot,
a little weird.
Where did my Iron Guard contract go?
Yeah.
Oh, right. I don't see my non-activatable items anymore.
Yeah, I think you guys should road test it, give it a try. You can switch the option on and off at your leisure. So, you're not locked into anything. We've been road testing it internally at the office with mixed results.
Yeah.
There are some people that I think are really excited about it. So it may totally work for you.
Yeah.
Give it a try.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it. I haven't tried it too much, so
Yeah.
I can't really say.
I know. I've played a couple of games with it on, and my overall feel was like I really missed not knowing where my items were, or having to open the shop for it. That part was the part that I struggled with the most. I thought the bigger icons were great.
Oh yeah.
So much easier to tap, so much more generous real estate given to the items so that you can activate them as you need them. But I really did miss having the other items in there.
Yep.
So see what you like. See what you like.
Do you want to talk about these bug fixes?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I'll leave it to you.
Okay. So first, we fixed the crit on Saw.
Mm-hmm.
That was
sad times.
That was my bad.
It's okay. I forgive you.
I screwed that one up. We fixed Fan the Flames. There was a small damage just because of how our server would end up processing the damage. There was an extra ticket damage that would be applied in the Fanning the Flames burn than we intended. We also fixed that Spitfire was cosmetically it was applying 2 stacks, but ironically, while a lot of players were testing this and gave us great feedback on the forums, and thank you for it, I did confirm that Spitfire in 1.4 was not dealing more damage than we had slated in the patch notes that it was supposed to be dealing. It's just that the damage was still too strong with what we had it dealing, and I'm sorry for that. The gold trickle, the gold trickle starts at 25 seconds into the match instead of at 10 seconds in the match. So you start getting gold when the minions spawn. We also had some server inconsistencies in which the gold trickle would be evaluated slightly slower than you would expect, and we corrected for that as well. So you actually get a little bit more gold in the game now because the timing is corrected. So you get about 13% or so more gold overall in the trickle than you would have gotten in 1.4.
All right, so that's pretty much it for what's in this patch. And why don't we, let's show off these skins again.
Let's show off the skins.
Let's do it. So this is not a Taka skin.
That's not a Taka skin.
This is not a Taka skin. This is actually Fortress, the new hero.
That's not Pickles?
Try him out.
No, it's not Pickles.
Oh,
Can we name him Pickles?
Please.
It's too late.
Done.
Too late.
Oh,
so
shoot.
close.
Okay.
Okay, but what we actually do have is this Koshka skin.
Yes.
Carrying Tool Koshka.
She's
super
so
super
cute.
cool.
Yeah.
And we do have some in-game footage of her, so check it out.
Yeah. So yeah, you guys are looking at tier 2 Candy Twirl Koshka, in dead assassin black. Like it's
pants.
it is really
I want
awesome.
those pants.
And if you also notice, she's got the rainbow twirl going on. all of her
love
effects.
I haven't seen this yet.
So good.
That's wicked.
Yeah, it's super, super cool.
Oh, she's so cute.
Yeah, again, so this is Koshka. You are looking at Koshka Candy Twirl. This is her tier 2. We have not yet revealed to you guys her tier 3, but tier 2 is badassical, and trust me that tier 3 is going to even blow your minds even more.
Yeah, I mean, what can I say? The rainbow effects.
The rainbow effects are so good.
So sweet.
I love it.
So freaking cool.
I'm seeing this for the first time too, you guys. I've been stuck in a dungeon writing. Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And so worth it. Your writing was so good.
Oh,
This is true.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the last story.
That. Thank you for reading it.
Ultimate Mini Mine. Would
Yeah.
not recommend.
Nope.
Not a good play.
Not a good place to use your ultimate.
Yes. Maybe if you're fighting it to the death and
Yeah.
you have that one more hand. It's like,
Right.
oh no, it's
and you
gonna
need to lock
kill
it
me.
down. Yeah, maybe that's when you would do it.
Yeah. Still would not recommend.
No, so wouldn't recommend. I'd recommend running.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably not the greatest move.
No.
Okay, Koshka bouncing into lane.
Yep.
Like she always does.
hooray.
Boing,
Yep.
boing, boing. Killing some minions. Poor minions. They are going to be dead.
Yep. She's got her headphones on. She's all like, "Unts, unts, unts, unts."
That's right.
Yep.
Wub,
Wub, wub, wub, wub. That's
Some of my
right.
best writing right there.
Yeah.
On that box.
So good, so
Yep.
good.
All that.
Yeah.
All right, so
There you
this
got
is Candy Troll Koshka.
Candy Twirl Koshka.
Pretty sweet.
Yep.
And let's go look at, what's it called one more time?
Which one?
The
Pickles?
Ringo.
Oh.
Ringo, yes.
Oh, he's so
Ooh,
cool.
he is cool.
That
Yeah.
face.
He
Yeah.
is cool.
Yeah, Ringo.
And, got the video for him too.
Yeah. Yep. This is awesome. So Shogun Ringo. This is tier 2 Shogun Ringo. Still, got one empty sleeve because he's only got one arm. Running around, tearing crap up. Love the splash art for tier 2 as well. Like, it's just so much swagger. My goodness.
Oh, look at that.
Yep. Belch and flame it, folks, because that's what Ringo do. That's how Ringo do.
I'm
so
actually
yeah.
speechless right now.
Yeah, no, it
haven't
is
seen
it is really, really cool. He's got that new revolver.
Yeah.
Yeah. Looks all good.
How's he drinking in that skull, though?
I don't know.
I'm gonna have to figure this out.
Maybe there's like teeth holes, and then
Oh, okay.
he can drink through the skull just by pouring it through the mask. I'm not
this is
I'm not
great.
exactly sure.
And this is just tier 2, guys.
Yeah, it's just tier 2. You haven't even seen
There's a whole
the
other one
pinnacle
coming.
of awesomeness
Absolutely.
that comes from tier 3.
They say we should change the name of the game to Van Glizzle.
Van Glizzle? Van Glizzle?
Van
Why?
Glizzle? I wasn't paying it. I was
You weren't paying
to
attention?
this. I'm sorry. I'm looking at this skin, guys.
Oh, no worries. It's no big deal.
Okay.
In BD.
Oh man, I love
Yeah.
this.
And now you see them all close up, twirling that
Here
silver.
comes Zekant.
I know.
Yeah.
We
He's
get
running
lost when
around,
you're
trolling
away.
some silvers,
Twirling some silvers, shooting
nice.
fools.
shooting all the things.
Yep, all the things.
Just chilling.
I'd be intimidated
Yep.
by that if someone rolled up on the opposite team.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yep.
Most
Agreed.
likely, yep.
Yeah.
Coming
Also,
out,
also
Hellfibers.
really good use of an ultimate. By the
Yes.
way, that is a super pro trick. If you want to use your ultimate on a lane minion, you should totally do that.
I do it a lot actually.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good wave clear.
It does. Yeah. The minion doesn't know what hit him. He's like, oh my god.
Why not?
Flame.
YOLO.
Yeah. Exactly.
Alrighty. So, Playoff period has returned.
Playoff
Oh,
period has
I
returned.
think-
Are you
Do you
finished
want your
with
chair
the
back?
I
notes?
think that is it.
No, I think
Oh,
this
this
is
is
it. I mean, you guys can stay on as long as you want, but everyone out there should be able to play 1.5 now. I think
All right.
we're good.
Well, that's awesome.
I think
Sweet.
we're good.
I think
The
we're good.
update notes will be up in probably 10 minutes or less. Check the the Vainglory Game website first, and then in a few more minutes after that, it'll be in the in-game news section. If you want to read all the details again at your own leisure, lots of information also in game, obviously.
Sounds good. All right, so go download patch 1.5, play some
Download
Fortress. Fortress is ice only for the
Fortresses.
first week, and then he'll be open for glory and stuff. and enjoy the new balance changes and everything.
Yeah.
Enjoy. Go get an epic card for me.
Yes. And always share your feedback. Things you love, things you love less. Share with us on the forums. We always enjoy hearing from you guys.
Hey, thanks so much for joining us for this impromptu, very special live stream. We appreciate it. We appreciate you supporting the game. Go play, have some fun. Tell us what you think of the new hero.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.